So if you didn't object to it, it meant it was consensual, right?
Yes, First of all, she was asleep.
Approach. You may proceed.
You thought it was okay when he placed his penis inside you while you were asleep, right?
Yes, maybe just not morally, but other than that, I thought it was okay.
Ma'am, is it yes?
It's yes and no, but mostly yes, I guess.
The no part in you, that didn't report it to the police, right?
That wouldn't have been the no part. So no.
the no part that didn't want it, that didn't get on the telephone and call the police, did it?
Of course not, no.
So the answer is no, you didn't call the police, right?
That's the answer.
You didn't stop the sexual encounter at that point either, did you?
I attempted to stop the intercourse.
All right, hello everyone. Welcome to the stream. And this stream, which we do at times, is we watch some trials and comment about them. And this is the Jodi Arias trial. We have been watching quite a bit of. We've been doing, like sometimes we'll do the eclectic streams, other times we'll do these trial watching. Today we're going to look at the Depp one and this one, the Jodi Arias one. And we do this part of our study of trials, etc. And oh, hello Shecky, good to see you. Welcome. Oh, sending good vibes to you too, thank you. And oh, hello Dwayne, welcome. Hi Alien Spaceship, I have to leave out in 10 minutes. Go to the airport to pick up Sharon. Have a great live, buddy. Okay, have a great time with Sharon. Thank you for letting me know. Tell her I said hi. And this trial is it can be graphic, graphic nature at times, some warning. And I'm just showing the insanity of Jodi and how on the stand is cold and calculated. And it's really so heads up, it's a bit cringe at times, but this is a cross-examination. Oh, hello mermaid. Hi, picking to move, cleaning the old house. Oh, well, you got quite a bit to do. Thank you for checking in and letting me know. Okay. Goose says, hi alien. Oh, thank you, Goose. Thank you. I have the mustache of the year, it seems. Yeah. And also with Jodi, she has quite a bit of insanity with the nonsense that she talks about. She had blonde hair originally, and she did all this messed up stuff, murdered her boyfriend and stabbed him about 8 times. Cut him ear to ear. That was something that she did. And shot him as well, and now she's trying to act like an innocent librarian, which is very deceptive. A lot of times in trials we'll see, like with Adelson, with Adelson she would go and this older lady that was assisted in a murder of her son-in-law, try to make her look like an innocent grandma, but she wasn't. So, yeah, that's a trend you'll see in trials, the way they'll dress them up a certain way. Yes, yes, Goose, it's your kind of girl, yeah. And definitely she would She's trying to lure all the men, but of course, beware, she is a death trap also. And now we will continue. To give everybody a kind of heads up about what this trial is about. All right. Okay.
Course, but not the whole sexual encounter.
So the answer is no, you didn't stop the sexual encounter, correct?
Correct.
In fact, you continued on with the sexual encounter until you tell us there was a sexual release on his part, right?
Yes.
You never indicated to him afterwards not to do that, right?
No.
And in fact, what we just heard was you lauding him or praising him for waking you up, engaging in intercourse, oral intercourse with you, right?
Yes.
So it's the same thing, only something different is going inside your body without getting too graphic, isn't it?
Well, I was awake when there was any kind of penetration on that account, so
Well, no.
it's somewhat similar, I would say.
Ma'am, do you want to hear this again where you indicate that you say you woke me up by pulling my pants off and licking my pussy?
Yes.
So he did wake you up in the same fashion, didn't he?
I was awoken as my pants were coming off. So, yeah, similar, yes.
And you didn't have any problem with that, right?
I was embarrassed, but other than that, no.
When you say that you were embarrassed, you weren't embarrassed because of the sexual act. You were embarrassed because of the fact that you had just taken some cosmetic
Yes.
approach to your pelvic area, correct?
Yes, and the lights were bright, yes.
Right. But other than that, you didn't have any objection to it, right?
That's right.
And you wanted to continue to blossom, right?
Yes.
And you wanted to continue, and you wanted to blossom sexually, right?
Yes.
So that when we hear, for example, that there was this situation where, of the many that you've described, where he comes over to your house, for example, on the porch, and you guys do whatever it is that you do, that's part of the blossoming process, isn't it?
I would say so.
And all the other activity that occurred between the two of you, including, for example, this telephone call that took place between two consenting adults, that's also part of the blossoming process, right?
I guess so.
Well, no, you were there, right?
Well, I'm talking about sex, and I didn't have sex while I was on the phone, so,
And you told us that for you it takes two hands, right?
yeah.
And so with regard to this particular conversation, you just didn't have any fun at all, right?
No, I wasn't saying that.
Well, your words and your demeanor speak for themselves on the telephone, correct?
Yes.
And one of the other things that we know from that conversation, in terms of your blossoming, is that you and Mr. Alexander discussed making a movie, right?
Yes.
And you discussed making a sexual movie, correct?
Yes.
And it wasn't like you were telling him, no, I don't want to do that sexual movie. You actually were into it as much as he was, right?
Yes.
And in fact, as part of this sexual blossoming, there are other things that you asked him to do for you, didn't you?
Yes.
Let's take a look at some of them. Take a look at Exhibit 494. Recognize that?
And see, she broke up with this guy that's a year before, and then she went back with him. So that was something about her that doesn't add up with her murdering him, because she went out of her way to go back to see him and then murder him. Shecky says to Mermaid, "Hi, I'm kind of lurking in and out. Good to see you." Oh, that's cool. Shout to lurkers. Viewer discretion is advised. There's lots of cringe on the way.
Yes.
These are two text messages that you sent to Mr. Alexander, correct?
Yes.
What is the date of those?
The date is February 25th.
And there is a time there, but as you previously told us when you first testified on direct, that time is 7 hours ahead of what the real time is, correct?
That's correct.
Move to the admission of Exhibit 494.
Objection.
494 submitted.
Idea.
You did enjoy dressing up for him, right?
Yes.
And you enjoyed, at least indicating here, in February of 2008, that it had to do with looking like a little schoolgirl, correct?
I guess so, yeah.
Well, no, you keep saying you guess so, but isn't that what you wrote?
Not, I didn't say look in that text message.
Pardon?
You said looking like, and I don't see that in the text
All
message.
right, so, okay, let's read it. I want to fuck you like a dirty, horny little schoolgirl. So that implies that you are dressed up in a certain fashion, right?
Yes.
And it also implies that, or indicates that it's you that's the person that likes this sort of activity and looking like a horny little schoolgirl, right?
Yes.
Although we heard previously some talk about braids and that it was only him that wanted that. It was a consensual, mutual relationship, sexually speaking, wasn't it?
Yes, always.
This issue involving the idea that there was going to be a movie and what was going to happen in the movie, part of it, or what it took place during a conversation that you had on May 10th of 2008, right?
Yes.
And it can be characterized as phone sex, correct?
Yes.
And it can also be fair to say that what people say during phone sex.
Yeah, and also a goose. She's like the sirens. Like we talk about pirates and the sea. She's like those sirens that would seduce sailors but kill them later. That's definitely, or like a lure with a hook, and it deletes the fish. So, or like the poppy flowers that eventually kill people. So she has definitely Eugene. She is a scumbag, and she has a seductiveness about her, an enchantress, but kind of like a cliche villain. She goes and deletes, kills. Yeah, I definitely. Now Travis was, at some say, he was not. He may have liked to have a lot of girlfriends and etc. But he was known to be talking to a lot of women, but still she was not right for, after breaking up with him, going out of her way to go find him and kill him, right? It's not the same thing as like somebody having an altercation and defending themselves, and she really overdid it. Really it was an overkill too. So yeah, definitely, and she's locked up for life, where she won't be hurting any other people. So yeah, very nutty indeed. But of course they have her dressed up a certain way to try and make her look more appealing. And she was able to seduce Travis, and she's like a Black Widow. Definitely it deletes the male spider. Yeah, and also all the men, be careful of ladies like this, including myself, of course, because we ought to be careful to not come across, to stay away from people like that. But then again, it's sometimes difficult to know how someone is until something happens, usually. So yeah, hopefully we do not encounter dangerous people like this. Scared.
Sex isn't necessarily true. Wouldn't you agree?
Yes, she's a succubus. Definitely a demonic female entity that drains the energy out of men. Yes, salute. Arg. Hello, Regina. Good evening to you. Welcome to the stream, and hope you're having a good evening. We're watching some of the Jodi Arias trial. It's a graphic warning, of course. It's very explicit, and just seeing the cringe of this is warning to all about these many people. And also, Eugene, there's another case that we're talking about where this, I don't know, I don't know if Goose knows about it, and I'm going to kind of take a little detour because it's not that long. This woman that murdered her boyfriend, she was in an interview laughing and singing and talking about how he needed to get a nose job, and she shot him in the face and gave him his nose job he wanted. She's another type of Jodi Arias type character. Oh, thank you, Eugene. I will look into... Okay, I have the link saved. Okay. Thank you, buddy. Eugene says, I don't know when you can look at this. I haven't seen it. Remote viewer says, humanity is choosing between two new future outcomes. Elizabeth opens up on her experiences with alien abductions. And I also like to look at interviews about these different things. Very important, because yesterday we saw excellent video on that, and we're looking at it, so we'll look at more. That's good. Okay, let's see. Okay, and we're gonna call this. Alrighty. Let's go here. Yeah, that was something down this way. Let's see if it's right there somewhere. There we go. This is another nutcase right here. I'll show you all. Switch over for a second, and here we go. This way.
And in the middle of him doing something with his arm or saying something crazy, shot him. And I thought, oh my God, what have I done? You know. And
this is Shina Herbers. By the way, it's a separate case. This crazy's nuts. This woman is nuts. All right.
He was laying with his face on the table, like twitching. And so I knew he was going to die a very slow and painful death. I knew he was already dead, you know, within the next 20 seconds. So in the next 2 minutes, I knew he was going to be dead. And he was in a lot of pain. He was twitching, he was moaning, but he was ultimately dead. And so I shot him enough times to kill him so that he wouldn't suffer at that point, which was a few more times. And I shot him, I think I shot him twice, thought he was completely dead, and he was laying there still, twitching and making noises. And I shot him in the head. I probably should have left it there, but I knew he was going to die.
Mm-hmm.
Or have a very deformed face.
And you were concerned.
And I knew, oh no, he would have died. He was already dying. He was dying. But I just walked around the table and shot him where I knew he would die immediately. And fast. His obsession with guns killed him. You know, I would have never, I'm so Democrat, I would have never touched a gun in my life until I dated him. and there's a lamp, and he had put his arm across the table and had it in my face and was screaming at me at the top of his lungs after he had thrown me around the room, and was saying emotionally to me, "You're a f***ing hillbilly. I f***ing hate you. I hate everything about you for what you are and my family." And he was screaming it, and he had his hand on the table, and he wasn't completely standing up. He was like this.
So it was like,
He was sitting, he was enough that when I shot him, he went like this. Literally. That's when I knew he was dead. Or close to it, and twitching. And I let him, I still, even though it hurt, I still, enough of me, loved him. That I couldn't stand to watch him twitch. I knew he was going to die or have a completely deformed face. He's very vain. One of our last conversations we had that was good was that he wants my best friend who's a dentist to do his veneers and wants to get a nose job. Just that kind of person. And I shot him right here. I gave him his nose job. He wanted. I broke it. I'm not your typical murderer. No, I'm not someone that you see on Depp. He said, "You're just a hillbilly from Kentucky." And I am. I guess the hillbilly came out of me. I took that for myself. None of it matters now. It's the worst thing I've ever done my whole life. But I feel like it's sad that part of me doesn't feel bad about it. That part of me does, you know what I mean? Part of me is like, he hit me, he threw me. You just don't treat a woman like that. I was in high school and she was a convicted felon. She told me that women that she went for cocaine. She told me that the women that she got along with in jail or prison are the women that were there because they had killed their husbands. Never believed it until now. And I wasn't doing anything that was mean. I was begging him to stay in the relationship and be with me because I knew that we once really loved each other. Ryan had told me that he loved me and wanted to be with me. And I guess somewhere along the way, that grew to hate. He was screaming how much he hated me. I don't know if anyone will ever want to marry me if they know that I killed a boyfriend and self-defense. It's not funny, but the stuff he was saying to me was so abusive while he was throwing me around the room. I'll never forget this moment. I think in the midst of...
Okay, Moki, thank you for letting us know. Good luck on your quests. Shout out to you. Yes, Goose, she needed to be cured. The goose was the cure. That's all she needed, right? And by that happening, she would have been snapped out of her own insanity. Yeah.
that, my love turned to hate, and I remember screaming, reaching up to grab the shirt. You, how dare you mock my family? How dare you? I wasn't doing anything that was mean. I was begging him to stay in the relationship and be with me because I knew that we once really loved each other. Ryan had told me that he loved me, and wanted to be with me. And I guess somewhere along the way, that grew to hate. He was screaming how much he hated me. I don't know if anyone will ever want to marry me if they know that I killed a boyfriend and self-defense. It's not funny.
Oh, cool. Mermaid, not mermaid, Moki. They both start with an M. Okay, so she says, "Oh, if you haven't seen, there are two pictures of two alien skeletons going around. Scared. Okay, I'll check that out. Thank you. I haven't seen it yet. Scared."
But the stuff he was saying to me was so abusive while he was throwing me around the room. I'll never forget this moment. I think in the midst of that, my love turned to hate, and I remember screaming, "F you," reaching up to grab the shirt. "F you, how dare you mock my family? How dare you talk like speak poorly of my mother and my family? If I don't get any serious consequences, then I could really be happy just having a career and maybe not even ever getting married, because this is very traumatic, you know. It's very traumatic for me to live with it. I have to know that I did that for someone that I told every day, I love you.
All right, back to Jodi Arias and some more Jodi Arias cringe. Arias cringe. Okay. She is certainly a demon.
To that?
I would agree to that.
Well, ma'am, what you said in your phone sex conversation with Mr. Alexander, according to your own testimony, part of it was a lie, wasn't it?
Are you talking about how he never jerked off?
No, I'm talking about what you said in that conversation. What you said, part of what was going on was a lie, wasn't it?
Yes, part of it was a lie.
Sure it was a lie, right? And so at least if we're using this conversation as a point of reference, people, you and Mr. Alexander, but you specifically, you lied to him, right?
I did.
And there was no harm in it because it was just a fantasy kind of conversation, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was just fantasy.
Right, and so that if he says he wants to tie you up to a tree and stick it up your ass, that could also be seen as fantasy, right?
Yes.
That never happened, did it?
No.
And talking about, for example, these things about the movie and that sort of thing, whether or not you believed it or not, it was part of the fantasy of that conversation, wasn't it?
Yes.
So, for example, if you just listen to one of these snippets or one of these exchanges, we can see that perhaps it's just all a fantasy. Let me have this marked as an example. I move for the admission of Exhibit 496.
No objection.
496 is admitted.
All right, so Brown here gave the best reach around fantasy. Oh God. Oh, now Goose. By the way, she was blonde when she was doing the murders, doing the murder of Travis. The brown hair is now during her trial to try to seduce the jury. So, yeah, that's what she was doing there. Yeah, and Eugene says, watching a trial like this is why I don't text people anymore. Yeah, Eugene, there are lots of crazy people out there, and including some women, and yeah, it's just so. I'll explain to you, Eugene. So, dude was in the shower, and she took a picture of him because they took pictures of each other. They're into some. They were both in the Latter Day Saints church, or what's called Mormons, but they were very repressed sexually, right? And then they were very into extreme fantasies and stuff like that. So then it exploded, and she was jealous of him, probably breaking up the relationship, etc. And he was in a shower, and so this is graphic. It's just to let you know, just a warning. And she stabbed him in the shower like psycho, and he tried to fight back, and then he didn't really make it, and then she shot him in the head and cut him ear to ear. And so you could just be with someone, Eugene, and although there are people out there that are not like this, and they'll start just stabbing, and she was not in like a life or death situation, in my opinion, just like this other case that we were talking about, the Ashley Banfield trial. She was alleging abuse, etc., but she went to go find the guy, lure him to a room, and delete him. But in that moment, she wasn't being abused, and she should have called the authorities or sued him or something. That would have been the best way to handle it, especially if he was in the moment of doing something. So yeah, like if someone does you something wrong and you go find them later and take them out, that's not what people do. So yeah, you gotta be careful. I don't blame you. It's got some nutcases out there, indeed. And blonde glasses, oh God, so hot. Yeah, bucket list, die by hot, crazy lady. Yeah, it's certainly a lot of people, I suppose, would want to go that way. Not myself, but definitely it would be, to some people, it would be a tempting way to go out if they're going to go out some way. It's like, if choose your method of execution. I'm sure many men and some women would choose that method of execution. So, but definitely we would want to realistically live to see the next day, most of us, I think. So I'm going to personally pass on the moment on that one. But yeah, so she's wearing the green shirt, and everything about her is trying to show the jury that she was this honest person that was being attacked unjustly. That's actually not true, though. Yes, exactly, Eugene. We have not watched the Casey Anthony trial yet, but that's on our list to watch at some point. Yeah, Ghost. I just call him Ghost. Goose says, choked out by large oobies. Yep. Yeah. Scared. Yeah, so Casey Anthony is another case that another murderer woman. I'll show who that is right now, and then we'll switch over back to this. So let's go this way, and okay. All right, so those that may not know is yes, Eugene, the hot crazy scale. Casey Anthony became a household name in 2008 following the disappearance and death of her 2-year-old daughter, Kaylee Anthony. After a highly publicized trial in 2011, she acquitted of first-degree murder, aggravated child abuse, and aggravated manslaughter, though she was convicted of 4 misdemeanor counts of providing false information. All right, the TikTok reintroduction. On March 2025, Anthony reintroduced herself in the public via TikTok, describing herself as legal advocate of researcher. She launched a Substack to provide legal resources and tips for those navigating the justice system. Documentary. In 2022, Peacock docusers Casey Anthony Where the Truth Lies, Anthony claimed for the first time on camera that Kaylee accidentally drowned in the family pool and that her father, George Anthony, staged the scene like murder family conflict. George and Cindy Anthony have vehemently denied Casey's accusations. In 2024, they appeared in A&E Lifetime special where they underwent polygraph tests regarding the Casey's death. Kaylee was reported missing in 2008-2011 by her grandmother, Cindy Anthony, on July 15, 2008, 31 days after she was last seen. Casey initially claimed a nanny named Zany kidnapped the child. Discovery. Kaylee's skeletal remains were found on December 2008 in a wooded area near the family home with duct tape found near or on the skull. Trial outcomes. The prosecution argued Anthony used chloroform to sedate Kaylee before suffocating her. The defense, led by Jose Baez, argued accidental drowning. Alright. The case led passage of the Kaylee's Law, the several states making it a felony for parent or guardian to fail to report missing child in timely manner. Okay, and this is Casey right here. This is another crazy one. Alright, and there, that's her, and going over this way.
Making of this movie could be artistic. I want you to listen to that.
I was saying, I'm kind of envisioning one, like when you're kitty fucking me, but like I'm looking with my head tilted back, so all you can really see is like the outline of my chin and some of my cheek and jawbone, and like my ears and hair, but you can't really see the rest of my face. You could just see a dick between two tits, like in focus with the neck and everything sort of a little bit blurry, but they're like kind of artistic, you know what I'm saying?
That's great.
Yeah, I don't know if we could do that, because your legs may take up the spot where the camera should be, but I think we could get something like that. Or vice versa. Ooh, I've got more ideas. Okay, go ahead.
Well, we'll work that out. Worst case scenario, we could do it from like the reverse angle or kind of like the other way.
And we could still blur my face and put your cock in focus. You have a good-looking dick, baby. I just want to let you know.
You like my dick?
Yeah. It's like, it just, so smooth. And it goes so, every time you fuck me, it feels so good. So you went just where I needed it. Just went where I just needed it bad. You fucked me so right.
You do say that it could be an artistic endeavor, right?
Yes.
And in fact, that comes from the fact that you like to take photographs, correct?
Yes.
And that's sort of one side of your life that you have, correct?
Yes.
And so, again, the fact that you're talking about it doesn't mean that you're actually going to do it, right?
We were kind of tentatively planning it, but I don't know whether we were actually going to do it or not.
Right, and it's a situation, again, that sometimes when people are involved in a sexual situation like what this appears to be, they get caught up in the heat of the moment, and they say things that are related to what's going on, correct?
I would agree with that.
Ma'am, and during this conversation, you and he actually discussed whether or not you guys should stop this particular activity of having sex, don't you?
Stop having sex?
Or stop having sex, stop having porn sex, that sort of thing.
I think we did.
So there are these phone calls that have been played throughout different parts of the trial, which are very graphic, explicit, sexual nature. She was doing this to try to seduce him, to bring him back into her hemisphere of influence. That's like a fancy way of saying she was trying to groom him back. And then after this, she goes and murders him in the shower, because that was her whole plan. She was only doing this to try to lure him back to delete him. That's right. This all happened right like a week before or a couple of days before the murder. So, yeah. If she's really didn't like him or felt threatened, why is she acting all goosey toward him like that? It's definitely was trying to, as I said, lure him in like a fish lure. I know, Goose. Yeah. Yeah, many would feel that way. And she is very, as I said, psychopathic. Look how manipulative she could be, and how she could orchestrate this to get this reaction out of him to have him come back. Yeah, definitely. And then she could just switch and murder somebody. So yeah, absolutely crazy, indeed.
Yes.
Well, let's hear what you actually say.
I can't wait to get pictures of jizzle on your face.
That's gonna be cool, actually. It's gonna be.
Try to get one as I'm coming on your face.
Yeah, definitely.
Like mid-shot.
Mhm. You make me so horny. I seriously think about having sex with you every day, several times a day. I think about how it feels to have your cock deep inside of me. I remember it, and I want it again.
Is it wrong that I'm glad we started fucking?
What?
Is it wrong that I'm glad that we started fucking?
Well, if it's wrong, then I don't want to be right. Because I'm glad too. Like, seriously?
Internally, I'm like, okay, it's Jodi. I'm just Jodi. I'm small as Jodi.
Like, I don't know. What's wrong is that I wish we were doing it before. Because that was good, and it's
once we did it, why not do it? Yeah.
I know what you mean.
And it appears that there's a bit of a conflict because the two of you keep engaging in sexual activity, correct?
That's correct.
Whether it be by telephone or whether it be in person, correct?
Yes.
And this issue involving you and he having sex, it also created a conflict for him, right?
Yes.
And you knew that it had to do with the LDS faith, right?
Yes.
And you were also...
And these were supposed to be very religious people, by the way. Now, people are a couple or getting together, it's fine, but... Yes, Regina, it was her that was recording this, everybody. So, she was recording these conversations. Yes. And she was doing it all acting this certain way. Not that she really felt like this. She was doing that to bring him in. Right. And more detail about what these phone calls were about right here. Let's see. Right, in the Jodi Arias trial, several types of phone calls were used as evidence to establish her state of mind, illustrating the nature of the relationship with Travis Alexander and demonstrate her attempts to cover up the crime. The context: recording by Arias herself weeks before the murder, these 40-minute tapes featured the graphic sexual fantasies and ranchy talk. Defense strategy: her attorneys played these to portray Alexander as a sexual deviant who is abusive and controlling, supporting their self-defense claims. Prosecution strategy: used to show the intense, obsessive nature of their relationship and provide motive for jealous rage killing. Evidence: phone records show Arias called Alexander 4 times after she had already deleted him. Late June 15, 2008. Significance: one call lasted 16 minutes, which officials suggested was Arias listening and potentially leading her own messages from the voicemail to eliminate evidence. Diary ties: she wrote in her diary about how much she missed him and wanted to call him during the same period, and she actually making these calls to his dead phone. Deception: Arias called Mesa detectives shortly after the body was found, claiming she had no involvement and was in Los Angeles or Utah at the time. The deleted phone excuse: she told police she didn't answer calls from her new love interest in Utah on the day of the murder because her phone had died and she was lost. Right, Goose says all she was a double cheeseburger, 2 chicken soft tacos, and maybe you wouldn't have died. Right. Now, the prosecutor himself was involved with deviant sexual stuff, and he had to step off resign from his position. So that guy too is shady. That's like talking right now in the trial. He's shady too, by the way. Yeah, Goose said, always remember to grab your girl food after work. Okay, noted. Yes, noted. Okay. So, continuing.
Also LDS, and that created a conflict for you too, right?
Yes.
And so it wasn't a situation that it was a secret to both of you that perhaps, since you were both members of the LDS faith, this is not what you should be engaging in, right?
That's right.
But neither of you cared, right?
Objection calls for speculation.
Sustained.
Ma'am, you still continue to engage in sexual activities with him, even though you had this conflict, didn't you?
Yes.
And even though he says he has this conflict here, he still continued to have sex with you, right?
Yes.
So even though you were two conflicted persons, you still continued to engage in this activity, right?
Yeah, that's what the conflict was about.
Right. And in fact, you even had a description of the two of you, didn't you, in that conversation that we just heard from May 10th of 2008, don't you?
Yes.
Let's hear what you said. I move for the admission of 498.
No objection.
498 is admitted.
That's right. I asked you not to, so I could get in the... Hang on, I thought I heard somebody. Let me just double check. Oh, I think it was my perjure. So. All right, we're good. The coast is clear. Let me get back into the groove. Things.
Honey, the pictures I'm going to take are so hot. The angles.
Like, what are we going to do with ourselves? We are just horny toads.
Ma'am, that's just an acknowledgement there that both of you are into each other sexually, correct?
That's correct.
And there's no indication from anything that we've heard that you were offended by the physical sexual activities that were going on, right?
Right.
It may have been a conflict, but the two of you enjoyed each other. Or at least you enjoyed him as much as it appeared that he was enjoying you, right?
Yes.
And you had at least that kind of relationship to the point where you actually had a name for him, or a pet name for him, didn't you?
Yes.
Let me show you this exhibit. Take a look at Exhibit 499. Do you recognize it?
Yes.
It's a text message that you sent, right?
Yes.
What's the date?
The date is 21st. Actually, it would have been the 20th of January.
And you're saying that it was the 21st of January because of the time difference, right?
Yes, it was the 20th, but it shows the 21st.
Move for the admission of Exhibit 499.
No objection.
499 is admitted.
And that's you sending him a message saying, hey, Hadi Biscotti will you call me before you hit the sack, right?
Yes,
I have a question about tomorrow morning. Thanks, my dear, correct?
that's correct.
And you actually called him Hadi Biscotti, correct?
Yes,
And that's because he was, in part, because he was special to you, right?
yes,
Because apparently at that time you were in love with him, right?
I believe I was. Yes,
And it's something that two people who are intimate have in common, right?
yes,
But he really wasn't that special to you, was he?
I wouldn't say that.
Well, let's take a look at another exhibit. 287. This is to Ryan Burns. You see that? It says Ryan's PPL, Gmail.
Right.
You're me. You see that?
Yes,
And you say to him, at some point before you go meet him, hey, Hadi Biscotti, what's new, right?
yes,
Isn't that the same thing that you called Mr. Alexander?
yes, I called a lot of people that.
So what you're saying is, when you call that Mr. Alexander that, it didn't mean anything then?
I wouldn't say it was meaningless, no.
It could also mean that when you started calling Mr. Burns Hadi Biscotti, was that Mr. Alexander really didn't mean that much to you, right?
That's not what it meant.
Well, it could, though, based on what we see.
Argumentative. She's answered the question.
Sustained.
You called them both by the same name, right?
Yes.
And you only had one encounter with Mr. Burns, correct?
Well, I met him once, and then I saw him again, so that would be twice, but if you're talking about the physical encounter, yeah.
Right.
One time, I guess.
Yeah, one time, right?
Unless you count shaking his hand, which I guess that doesn't really
Pardon?
count.
I didn't hear what you said.
I'm sorry, unless you count, we shook hands and spoke briefly. I don't even really remember it, so it was pretty brief, but
In terms of a one-on-one with
Yes,
Mr.
that
Burns,
would
it
be
was only
one.
one time, right?
yes,
And you're already calling him Hadi Biscotti, at least through this PPL, or at least through this instant messaging thing, right?
that's right.
And exhibit number 286, it tells us a little bit more of what actually happened when you went to see him. I want you to go down here and read what he says, starting with the ha-ha, if you can read it. If not, I'll bring it in. Go ahead and read it out loud.
It says, haha, well, we woke up, we sat there for a bit, and then we held each other, and then we started to kiss. Then you said I could not be comfortable, and you adjusted me.
So it does say that you told him that he could not be comfortable, and so you adjusted him, right?
Yes.
And then what else does he say? It's above it.
Then you pressed your body really close to mine and started to kiss me.
So you were on top of him, weren't you?
Yes, well, kind of on top of him, off to the side a little. I think on his left.
But you did start to press your body close to him, right?
Yes.
And then you say what? It's right above it.
Well, I think it's out of order, but I say, well, I would gladly give it to you.
And then right above it, he asks.
Can I ask what else you might give me?
And your answer is?
You can ask, but you'll have to wait and see for that one.
Bottom line, you're sort of already involved in the same sort of give and take that you were involved with Mr. Alexander, correct?
Yes.
Ma'am, there's a number of stories that you gave in this particular case involving the killing. There was one that you gave on the 15th of July of 2008 to Detective Flores, right?
Yes.
There's another one that you gave on July 16th of 2008 to Detective Flores, right?
Yes.
But then you still gave another view of what happened to 48 hours, right?
I think I was inconsistent in my lies. Yes.
So let's take a look at what you may have said 48 hours. I move for the admission of Exhibit 500.
No objection.
500 is admitted.
You feel comfortable talking?
Yeah. Let me talk about. I'll talk about this, and nobody knows this. The detectives know this because I've spoken with them. Boy, this is really hard. I'm trying to think if I want to say this or not. There's a lot of evidence that places me at Travis's house the day he was, or not just the day he was killed, but the day, most of that week. And there's a reason for that. And that reason is that that I did see Travis the day that he passed away. And a lot of things happened that day. I almost lost my life as well. And I was told that I can't speak about it or tell anyone about it because my family's life was in danger over it. I was told that if I did, that they would all die and that I would die. And that was kind of the end of the story. There was an argument among some people, two individuals, that one wanted to take my life and one said, that's not why we came. And at one point, the guy with the gun sort of succumbed to her pressure, I think, because he was holding the gun at my forehead, and I was on the ground, on my knees, and I was near the armoire of where he kept his TV in his bedroom, and Travis was in the bathroom. She was standing over Travis near him, and the guy with the gun was standing near me, and again, this argument was going on back and forth. And I just remember holding my head and closing my eyes. And then there was so much that went on that day, but the short of it is he pulled the trigger and nothing happened, just a click. And I realized then that he probably, I don't know if that means that he was out of bullets or I don't know what that means. I wasn't that familiar with handguns. And so at that point, I pushed past him and I ran down the stairs. He didn't make much of an effort to stop me. But I could.
Yeah, this is... Yes, Mermaid, that is true. Every single one of them that talks is full of shit. Yeah, it's Ted Bundy, Charles Manson, Gacy, every single one of them, including the ones now. They all are full of a nonsense story. And she specifically is set like a female type murderer. She likes to act all like she was a victim of something, but it's actually not true when you look at the fine print. Yeah, Goose scared. Yeah, I just saw something on TMZ earlier, by the way, but about the Shia LaBeouf arrest. But yeah, I'd say though that she is guilty as sin, but she casts spells on people to make people think that she is not guilty. Yeah, Mermaid. They're like magicians. They lie and they're like magicians, and they say all kinds of nonsense. Yep, Goose. Yeah, facts. And she is a deceptive and likes to cringe a lot. Likes to cringe everybody. So, and lie as well. But people could see through her lies with looking at the fine print.
Could almost swear that I heard someone following me down the stairs, and I ran out the front door, and I got into my car, and I drove, and I left.
Ma'am, nowhere in that recitation or in any of the interviews that you gave with 48 Hours did you ever indicate that you had memory loss, correct?
That's correct.
Mermaid, very good example. There is a Gypsy Rose, who's this other case that we have been looking into. And Mermaid has been keeping up with it a lot. So the case of Gypsy Rose, I will explain to y'all. That's another woman that's similar to Jodi Arias. Let's see. All right, Gypsy Rose Blanchard's story is a tragic case of extreme child abuse, medical fraud, and high-profile murderer that captivated the public. Born on July 17, 1991, Gypsy Rose spent over 2 decades as a victim of her mother, Claudine D.D. Blanchard, who is believed to have suffered from Munchausen syndrome. She saw the white orb memory loss. Right. And like, damn, you lie about just about everything, no credibility. Mermaid says, it's so stupid now, it's starting to get annoying because she likes loving the negative attention. Right. Right. Exactly, and they feed off the negative attention. It's something that draws them in. Right. When July's Gypsy Rose spent over 2 decades as victim of her mother, Claudine D.D. Blanchard, who is believed to have suffered from Munchausen syndrome by proxy. All right, the abuse 91 to 2015. Dee convinced the world, and often Gypsy herself, that Gypsy was severely disabled and terminally ill. The ruse included fabricated illness. Dee claimed Gypsy suffered from leukemia, muscular dystrophy, epilepsy, and brain damage. Unnecessary medical procedures. Gypsy was forced to use a wheelchair and a feeding tube, had her head shaved to look like a cancer patient, underwent surgeries, and she was very into these. She had her mother murdered by the person she was, this autistic person she was in a relationship with, and she has these very bizarre fantasies similar to Jodi Arias, and she likes to go and do these. She was released from prison recently. She was in jail for like 10 years, nearly 10 years. And she now does all kinds of things with TikTok and social media. And she talks about fantasies with her child in a sexual way, which is creepy. So a lot of people have been exposing her for what she's been doing. Yes, that is true, Goose. That's very good, very nice of you. All mermaids are beautiful. That is true. And shout out to the pool's mermaid, the most beautiful one of all. Yep. And they swim in the oceans and pools alike. Facts. And Gypsy's over and over is like, well, I don't do the keel, and that's exactly how she says it loud, and she's innocent because she didn't do it herself. It's incredible. Yep. All right, murder conviction. In 2012, Gypsy met Nicholas John, person I just mentioned, on a Christian dating site. Desperate to escape her mother, Gypsy convinced John to kill Dee in June 2015. John stabbed Dee to death while Gypsy hid in a bathroom. Legal outcome. Gypsy pleaded guilty to second-degree murder and was sentenced to 10 years in prison. John was convicted of first-degree murder and serving a life sentence without parole. Her ex gets on the likes and lives and stood up women after being with them once. Ah, right? That is... Yeah, I remember she had an ex, and he was talking about that. Yeah, exactly. Gets likes and lives, and he stood up women after being one of them. Nick had no business getting involved with Gypsy, and he had other friends and girls who were friends he could have dated. Yeah, and you see about these types, like Jodi or women like this, they are just have a charm about them that draws people in, like, and that's why he probably went with her over the other ones. Okay, got to get something. BRB in a moment.
And in fact, you gave a slightly different view of the same event to 48 hours on another occasion, didn't you?
Yes, couldn't keep my story straight.
All right, and yeah, I just found out Nick told a girl about everything and called her sis, and she should have reported it. Oh, definitely should have reported it. Any type of disturbing behavior like that needs to be reported. And but that's the thing about them. They they have this aura about them that causes them to disable themselves. Right. Gypsy Rose Blanchard's experience with the sexual identity and deeply tied to history of isolation in the fantasy world. She entered to escape her mother's control, but this is the fantasies that are very. And I think that her mother was probably all right, but she has these fake things about her where she was trying to, you know, cause a deception, you know, where her mother was murdered unjustly was what I'm trying to say. Most likely. While plotting their escape, her mother Gypsy, and then her then boyfriend Nicholas Gojon engaged in elaborate role playing and fantasies Gypsy later described as unhealthy. BDSM roleplay. Gojon requested Gypsies call him a master and film sexually explicit videos. Gypsy has stated he taught her all the wrong about BDSM and used the roleplay to control her, threatening to withdraw affection if she didn't perform correctly. Elaborate alter ego. Gojon reportedly created a fantasy world involving alien soulmates and vampire villain named Victor, who supposedly had violent sexual urges. Gypsy felt. Yeah, shapeshifters. Right. Exactly. Gypsy felt that their actual murder plot baked into these fantasies rather than being master plan. And let's see about the ones with her. Ones. Right. The violent alter egos. Gojon claimed to have a dark side or alter ego personality. A 500-year-old vampire named Victor who enjoyed killing, and Gypsy testified that she was told she had to beg this persona to commit the murder-linked arousal. Gojon allegedly told Gypsy he was sexually aroused by the fantasies of murder grape and mentioning desire of harm and XGF, and they wanted to ask Gypsy to clean the wound first while unclothed, even including deceased people and her own and children as well. She had fantasies about. That was, and that's where a lot of this controversy comes from, where she could repeat a crime again, but hopefully she doesn't. But yeah, so that is Gypsy Rose case that's been talked about a lot. All right, now continuing with this other trial.
I move for the admission of Exhibit 501.
No objection.
501 is admitted.
He is really critical of himself. You know, we're all our own worst critics, and so, you know, some pictures he liked, some he didn't. And I was looking through the pictures, and I heard again a loud pop, and I was hit on the back of the head. I don't think I was out very long, but when I came to, I was kind of laying next to the bathtub and the shower right next to each other. And Travis was on all fours on the tile, and he was, well, I say all fours, but one of his hands was actually holding his head. And I mean, he wasn't laying down or anything. He was kind of on his knees and on the, you know, on his hands. And at that point, I looked over toward the entrance of the bathroom. There was a hallway, and two people were walking down the hallway, and I ran into the closet. It's a big closet. And I was going to run out the other door, except he stopped me with a gun pointed at my forehead. And I was just, you know, when you have a gun pointed to your forehead, you just do anything. So he told me to get down onto my knees and stand over or sit over by the armoire. So I just stayed there, squatting on my knees next to the armoire. And he left the room for a minute, maybe a few minutes. And she was in the bathroom, standing over Travis, and I charged her. I ran down that hall, and I pushed her as hard as I could, and she fell over him, landed near the sink. There's two sinks in the master bath, and he landed near the left sink, kind of near the trash can, close to the windows, and I started to pull on him, and I said, come on, come on, come on, let's go, let's go. And he just wasn't, he was sluggish and lethargic, and he just wasn't getting up, and he wasn't really saying much of anything. He was there, and he was conscious, and I could see that. He wasn't saying much. I was able to get him he was sort of not crawling, but he was kind of moving and trying to stand up. And I was able to get him about halfway down the hallway when she came back at me, and we struggled for a few minutes. And again, she was doing what she could to overpower me, and she was kicking me, and she was stomping on my feet, and she was trying to kick my knees, and I was just kind of bending them or trying to do what I could. And he came back in the room, and again, I had to go back to where I was sitting and stay there, and that's when they both began to argue about whether or not I should die. And there was an argument that went on back and forth between them for several minutes. At least it felt like several minutes. And he didn't want to, and she did, and she kept saying why they should, and he kept saying, well, that's not why we came here, and you know, after he had gone through my purse again, he finally just pulled the trigger. And I thought, honestly, it's over. It's the weirdest feeling to think that it's going to be over at any second, and then someone pulls the trigger, but you're still there. And at that point, I just ran. I pushed right past him, and I flew down the stairs. And like there's part of I wasn't even in my body. I think I was, but everything felt numb. I was hyperventilating, and my heart was racing. And so even as I went down the stairs, there's part of me, like my brain was telling my legs, don't screw up, or you're going to fly down these stairs, and you're not going to get away. So I'm, trying my best not to stumble down these stairs, and I just went out as fast as I could and out the door and slammed the door behind me and got in the car and left.
And that's another version of the events that occurred on June 4th of 2008, correct?
Yes,
And they're not true.
neither of them. Well, it's all the same thing. It's just different versions. Couldn't keep my life straight.
So the answer is they're not true, right?
Neither of them, yes.
Ma'am, you did also continue to talk to 48 Hours about coming to Mesa. Do you remember talking to them about that?
Yes.
And do you remember talking to them about what your plans were initially? Do you remember about that?
Yes.
And the reason that you came out to Mesa, you didn't have a plan initially, correct?
Do you mean on June 4th?
Pardon?
Are you talking about on June 4th?
I'm talking about when you left Puerto Rico.
What was your question? I'm sorry.
My question is, according to you, you didn't have any plans to come to Mesa initially when you left Puerto Rico, correct?
That's correct.
And in fact, that's something that you told 48 Hours, right?
Yes.
Take a look at what you told them.
No objection.
502 is admitted.
So tell me about this trip on this particular day. Did you plan that in advance, or did you surprise
No,
them?
I'm really kind of like go by the wind when I take my road trips. I usually plan more than I can actually do, and then I cross some off the list when I feel I can't. So on this last trip, my plan was to go to Monterey, to Los Angeles, to San Diego, to Utah, and then over to Death Valley, and then back up to Wairika. And it certainly didn't go anything like that. It went Santa Cruz, and then Monterey. And then I went to LA and Pasadena. And then I skipped San Diego. And it was when I was in Pasadena that night that I decided to go to Mesa. And Travis had found out about my road trip about a week prior. And he has this way of kind of guilting me. Not in a bad way, just like of making me sort of feel bad. So he said, well, why don't you come to Mesa instead, and you can visit me. And I was like, no, I have other things that I need to do and other plans and other people. I didn't say it in that way because you have to kind of be delicate about it. Otherwise, he would take offense, I think. And so he would say things like, okay, I see, whatever. I see how it is. You don't love me, just as a joke, though. And so it just kind of pulls on my heartstrings a little. And again, I was weak and I folded and I decided that I'm going to go. And so I called him when I was in Pasadena and said, guess what? And he said, what? And I said, I'm coming to Mesa. And he said, really? And I said, yeah. He's like, all right, cool. And so, we hung up the phone and I drove. And I told him he didn't have to wait up for me because, I was still in Pasadena and that's probably a good 5 hours and something, just all the way to Mesa. And as well as that, my phone was about to die. So, I just said, if I don't speak to you again until I get there, then, that's why. And so I showed up, I think, around 4 a.m. And he was still awake. He had stayed up all night. He was on the internet looking up some videos on YouTube, some silly videos. And we watched some more videos for a little while. And then it was just like I was exhausted from the drive. So we just went to bed and went to sleep. And,
With regard to the videos that he was looking at, we've heard something about quicker, faster, stronger, something like that. They weren't of any sexual nature, were they?
No.
And in fact, it may have been the way you described it, that it was some people with some sort of weird or funny headgear that were just dancing around. That's the way you described it,
It
right?
looked that way, yes.
And so you actually left Wairika on June 2nd of 2008, correct?
Yes.
And prior to that, though, you made some preparations, didn't you?
Yes.
You made some preparations in the sense that, according to you, you made a reservation to rent a car, right?
Right.
And the reservation to rent the car was made not in Wairika, but in some other place, right?
It was made online. Yes. Oh, I'm sorry, in Reading, for Reading, yes.
Right. And Wairika does have some rental car companies, correct?
That's correct.
And in fact, what happened was that when you went to Reading to rent the car, you even had to, for lack of a better term, inconvenience somebody else to take you to get your car, to get the rental car, and then take you back to their house, right?
That's right.
And it would have been much more convenient in Wairika to go rent the car in Wairika, wouldn't it?
Not for my bank account, no.
Well, when you're saying your bank account, you're talking about financial reasons, right?
Right.
And how much money did you take with you in cash?
I don't recall, but it was probably a few hundred, I think.
So when you say a few hundred, are we talking about 200?
Maybe that, not much more, somewhere in that ballpark. It was between like 80 and 200. I don't remember the exact amount.
So it's between $80 and $200, maximum being $200, right?
I think. I don't really remember as far as cash.
Well, could it have been $300?
It could have. I don't remember having that much cash on me, but I guess it could have.
If you don't remember having that much cash on you, then it wasn't $300, right?
Well, it just means I don't remember. Probably not.
All right, and so previously during the direct examination, you told us that when you go on these trips, you don't take usually more than $200. Do you remember telling us that?
Yeah, that's typical.
And so in this particular case, you said, well, I had financial issues, and so I decided to rent out of Reading because it was cheaper, right?
That's right.
But it would have been more convenient, though, to rent from Wairika, correct?
Convenient for who?
You.
No.
In terms of picking up the car, it wouldn't have been convenient?
No.
Well, Wairika, you told us, was a small town, right?
Yes.
And you indicated that everybody sort of knows everybody there, right?
That's pretty much the case.
And the other thing that you told us about Wairika was that people know everybody else's business there, right?
Usually.
Right, and in fact, one of the examples that you gave us of where people in Wairika know what's going on was the example when you were 17 and you went to, or you skipped a class. Do you remember telling us that?
Yes.
It was a history exam that you had to prepare for, right?
That's right.
And you indicated that you went somewhere in the car and you were studying, right?
Yes.
And while you were studying, your father found you, right?
Yes.
And one of the explanations or reasons that you gave for that was that Wairika is a very small town, right?
I don't remember giving that explanation because that's not why he found me.
Well, you indicated that you don't know how he found you, right?
I knew how he found me.
Well, that's not what you told us on direct examination.
Oh, I mean, I knew why he went to go looking for me. How he found me was he was just driving around. I'm sorry.
Ma'am, that's not what you told us on direct examination, right?
I don't remember. That's a fact.
Again, do you have problems remembering what you just told us less than a couple of weeks ago?
Occasionally, I guess.
And in this particular case, you're having trouble remembering what you told us as to how your father found you, right?
I'm having trouble with how you're characterizing it, I think.
Well, again, we're going to get into this word exchange issue, but my question to you is, do you remember telling us on direct examination that Wairika is a small town and that's part of the reason or how your father found you? Do you remember telling us that?
Yes.
And so Wairika in 2008 is not much bigger than it was in 1997 or 1998 when this happened, right?
No, I think it's about 1,000 more in population.
Right. It's only 1,000 more in population. In other words, it's not a town that's exploding in terms of population, right?
Yes.
It is or it is not.
Yes, that's right. I'm sorry.
And so that in people in Wairika, if somebody does something, more likely than not, they may end up meeting somebody that they know, right? Overall.
Yes.
So, for example, if you went to one of the two, or either of the two car rental agencies that are there in Wairika, somebody may have been able to know or talk about it later if they were asked about it, correct?
Perhaps. People wouldn't know me, though, because I hadn't lived there for 10, 15 years.
But they may have, right?
Some. A few
Because
high school
again-
friends or something.
Again, it's not a very large town, right?
Yes.
And in fact, what's the population is what, 11,000?
I think it's 7,000.
7,000?
Something, yeah.
And you, at the time, back in June 2nd of 2008, you were working, right?
Yes.
And where you were in this town, there aren't that many bars, right?
I think there are like 5 or 6 bars.
Right. And there isn't one called Margaritaville, right?
No, there's not.
You worked at Casa Ramos, right?
Yes.
And you had some time off, didn't you?
Yes.
And this was going to be part of your vacation, right?
Road trip, yes.
The road trip was your vacation, right?
It was partially vacation, partially a business trip.
And when you say partially business trip, what you're saying is, for example, that if you went to buy gas, that's something that could be deductible, correct?
If it was for the business purpose, yes, it would be deductible.
Sure. And in fact, since you were going to go to Utah, going to a gas station, it would make sense to save the receipts so that you could then deduct them from your income taxes, right?
That's right.
And in this particular case, wouldn't matter whether or not you paid cash or you paid with a credit card, right?
It wouldn't matter for tax purposes. no.
Right, as long as you had the receipts, right?
Yes.
And in this case, so you did pay at least attention to the receipts that you got, for example, from the gas station, right?
What do you mean by pay attention?
Kept them.
Yeah, I throwed everything in a shoebox.
Right, you threw everything in the shoebox, everything related to this trip, right?
Yes.
All of the receipts from this trip were thrown in this shoebox that we've seen previously, right?
No, probably not all, but just whatever was left over in my wallet.
Well, but you were trying to pay attention to keep the receipts that were related to a business expense, right?
Somewhat. I'm very disorganized, but that's kind of my effort, yeah.
Well, no, that's what you were attempting to do, right?
Yes.
And in fact, you did save some of the receipts involved with this particular trip, right?
Yes.
And so you're in Wairika and you decide instead to rent a car from Redding, California, right?
Yes.
And that's south of Wairika, correct?
Yes, on my way.
And it is on the way, but it is south, correct?
Yes.
And it's what, 90 miles away?
I think it's 99 miles.
So in terms of travel, we're talking about what? Close to 2 hours?
Maybe just under 2 hours, I think.
And on this particular day that you left, on June 2nd of 2008, you left the house around 5 o'clock in the morning, something like that, right?
Yeah, I think so. It was very early in the morning.
Well, you were at the Redding airport by 8 o'clock, weren't you?
Yes.
And so did you get there before 8 o'clock and just wait around, or did you get there at about the same, at that time?
I don't remember waiting. Well, I waited a little bit because there was a line, but not waiting for them to open.
And somebody was with you, correct?
Yes.
A guy was with you, right?
I can't remember if it was my brother's neighbor or my sister-in-law, but I think it was my sister-in-law. So either one of them dropped me off and picked me up or vice versa.
So when you're saying that they dropped you off and picked you up, what you're saying is that they did not get out of the car that took you to the Reading Airport, correct?
I don't remember.
You don't remember whether or not they went up to the counter with you.
I think I was alone.
So you were here when Mr. Colombo testified, correct, as to whether or not you were accompanied, correct?
Yes.
And so what time did you arrive at this would be your sister's house, right?
Yes.
What time did you get there?
Before renting the car, you mean?
Yes. That was the only time that you got there on June 2nd, correct?
No, I got there with the rental car afterward and
Pardon?
took a nap. No, I went back to our house.
All right, the first time before you rented the car.
In the morning. I don't remember the exact time.
So it would have been, and they knew you were coming, correct?
Yes.
And so they were ready to then take you down to the airport, right?
Yes.
And they dropped you off, and then you went to pick up the car, right?
I believe they did, yes.
And one of the things that happened is that you initially were given a car, or rented a car, by Mr. Colombo.
Yes.
Colombo, correct?
Yes.
And the car that he offered you initially was red, right?
Yes.
And you told him that you didn't want the red car, right?
That's right.
And the reason that you told him that you didn't want the red car was offered you initially was red, right?
Yes.
And you told him that you didn't want the red car, right?
That's right.
And the reason that you told him that you didn't want the red car was because it would call attention to or it would stand out more, correct?
No.
Well, didn't you tell him that you did want to exchange the car though, right?
Yes.
And you told him that red is a color that police officers sort of focus on. Do you remember telling him that? Is that yes or no?
I'm trying to remember. I don't think I worded it that way.
So you did give him a reason why you didn't want that car, right?
Yeah.
And part of it had to do with the color, right?
Yes.
You didn't want the color red,
Yes.
correct? The color red seems to stand out, doesn't it?
I don't know. I just heard they get more tickets.
Right. And so it had to do with the police department, right? You did not want to stand out, and that's why you wanted a different color, correct?
Not the police department because I'd be on the freeway. I just didn't want to get tickets, and I
Well-
heard they get more tickets.
Who do you think gives traffic citations, man?
On the freeways in California, it's the California Highway Patrol.
That's police, aren't they?
I don't think they're police. I think they're law enforcement, but not categorized as police. Not to my knowledge, anyway.
So if there's a crime, you're saying that the California Highway Patrol doesn't respond to them?
They respond as well as maybe the sheriff's office or something. Depends on the district, I would imagine.
Right, and so you were afraid that police, whether it includes the California Highway Patrol or somebody driving down the street, that they would focus in on your car because you had heard that police give more tickets involving a red car, correct?
Afraid? No, I wasn't afraid. I just didn't want to shell out more money for tickets.
Right. So, afraid may not be the word that you like. What word would you like? Concerned?
I don't know. I
Well,
guess.
no, you're the one that said afraid wasn't the right word. Why don't you tell me what word you would use in describing your reluctance in taking a red car?
It was motivated by financial frugality.
Well, you're telling us then that the red car was cheaper to rent than the white car.
No, in theory, I would be less likely to get a speeding ticket and shell out hundreds of dollars if I were not in a red car.
So what you're saying is the red car, in your view, because of the color, stands out more to police departments, whether they be California Highway Patrol, whether they be the Salinas Police Department, whether they be the Reading Police Department, right?
I'd be speculating, but I guess that's why they get more tickets. I don't know.
Well, no, I don't want you to guess because I want you to tell us what you were thinking at the time because you were the one that made this request involving the red car.
Well, my thought is that drivers of red cars tend to drive faster. They get more tickets. That's just what I've always been told.
Yeah, exactly. So, by the way, everybody, the YouTube homepage is down, but we are still streaming, and we're still able to access that. Now, at first, I was thinking for a moment, did they take me down for a moment? But I was looking, and it should be, because I see it on the bottom it's streaming. So that's why I needed to get some more confirmation about what was down, but it was the YouTube homepage. Okay, yeah. I don't know. Must be something. It's something on their end. That part of the website must be down for some reason, for unknown reasons. Hey, yeah, Eugene. I go on Rumble sometimes to watch some channels and different things on there that aren't on YouTube. I think Rumble's cool. Now, I always knew YouTube. I'm used to YouTube, but I understand what you mean about YouTube, though. Okay? Yeah, I don't blame you. Definitely with Rumble is a option. The subscriptions still show up. Yeah, okay. But, yeah, I understand why you like Rumble. I like it, too. But that, if you knew more about it, you would just ditch YouTube. Yes, I understood. Because of YouTube has guidelines. You know, sometimes now, as I said, the fact that we're able to stream this trial that's very explicit is a blessing in a way that we're still all here. But yeah, with the YouTube guidelines, a lot of times, even with the chat itself, I've had to make sure it's being in line with the guidelines. Sometimes people didn't always like it when I did that, but it was, which I'm talking about like in more recent times. But basically, yeah, YouTube's guidelines and stuff are weird. Yeah. You can't see any videos on like suggested videos and stuff. Yeah. I remember it said Eugene, same Rumble doesn't connect to your TV, so I don't like it. Oh yeah, yeah, okay. So you would want a YouTube, you would want a channel that connects to your TV. Understood. I mean, a website that connects to your TV. Okay, got it. And by the way, Brian, good to see you. Welcome to the stream. And so yeah, basically, that is the thing with YouTube's community guidelines could be silly. And another thing is the YouTube homepage is now down. So yeah, yeah. There's things about Rumble. Yeah, it's under construction. It could be under construction. Maybe they're doing some website maintenance to it. I know about website building, and yeah, you'd have to take. There's YouTube works on. It's like multiple websites mixed together. And if maybe they took a part of it down to do some editing on it, that would make sense, because a lot of times you have to kill the server to do something to the website. So, and yeah, YouTube is multiple. So in my opinion, it's like multiple websites in one. There's like different sections of it. You couldn't even switch to your main account. Oh, okay. Yeah, because usually we know your other account. So, yeah. I have quite a bit of YouTube accounts, but this is the one that I use primarily. But I have I have quite a few of them. And let's see. Oh yeah, everyone just found out. Okay, yeah. So we'll find out at some point what the problem with it is, and we'll know at some point. I'll see if there's any info about it. Let's see. YouTube. Nope, I don't see nothing. Probably be on Twitter or something. Yeah, Mermaid. I'm glad that we were live, so you can know about the different things in the webpage, because we all could see it too, so you know that you're not being hacked. Yeah. Oh, your wife's having a cow. Matt Wolf, 2 minutes. Always fun when you have published a new video and 5 minutes later YouTube goes down. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. All right. Good point. It's like you're watching something and then it's like the power cuts off. Yeah. Scared. Oh, she's missing all of her channels. Yeah, I could understand. Because YouTube's the new cable. You know, YouTube's the new cable. Oh, good, Mermaid. I'll certainly come to your channel later. By the way, Eugene and Mermaid both have really cool channels I recommend checking out. Links, we could post links in the chat if y'all want to go click on it. Or what you can do is you could tap since everyone's a mod, you could tap their username and go directly to their channel. That way. Yeah, but shout out to both of them. Good content. All right. And basically what you will do is YouTube has to get with the program because they're probably doing website updates. You know, it's probably doing some kind of website update. It really is weird. Ditch cable years ago. Yeah, I don't use cable anymore. There are some things that I watched on there, but yeah, just you're paying for a lot of channels you don't use. So yeah, the internet is the new way. Definitely. Where everybody can connect. You watch something with everybody in the world. So I think that's even cooler, like with the internet, because you can just watch it on your phone. And let's see, is it fixed? Because you know they might be doing construction on the website. YouTube is out like a ghost. Okay, I see the subscriptions tab is still... Oh, well, you know what I'm going to just do? I'm going to just show you all this way. How about that? Okay, let's reload. Okay, everybody, this is the YouTube page that is out. Well, I'm just going to get myself out the window so y'all can see everything. Alright, so all the logos are gone. Even the pictures are gone. Everything's gone right now. Oh, okay. Thank you, Eugene. Exactly. Everybody's going to go to Twitter and see why it's down. Hashtag YouTube down. Yeah. Now, over this way... yeah, it's still down that way. It usually shows subscriptions right here, but it's not. I mean, I'm sure it could just be clicked on, and then it would lead to that website. Let's see. Does it work? Hello. Yeah, I think if you could still click on subscriptions, and it'll give you subscriptions. So so if anybody like wants to see their subscriptions tab, you could still click on it, and it will bring you to that part. But you know, you go here to the main page, and it's not there. So maybe they're doing maintenance on it. Okay. So, all right, that, and here's Jodi right here. Oh, hello, Doe. Good to see you. Welcome to the stream. Yeah, it is definitely rude tube and hashtag YouTube down. Facts. And yeah, YouTube is being cringe right now at the moment with not letting people in. All right. Going to see if this works in continuation. All right. Let's go.
Right. But that's what other drivers do. You supposedly were going to adhere to the speed limit or within 10 miles of it, right?
Usually, I tried.
Right, so if you do that, then you really shouldn't have too much of a concern about a traffic citation then, right?
That's not right. I've been cited before when the radar was off.
And how many times have you been cited before for speeding, ma'am, when your speed was over 10 miles an hour, over the speed limit?
Several times.
Give me one time.
One time I was driving on Highway 1 south of Carmel, or just entering Carmel Highlands, and I was going, I think, 60-something in a 50, and I got pulled over, and he clocked me at, he said 79.
Let me stop you. You said you were going 60-something in a 50-mile-per-hour zone, right?
Yes.
That means you were going over the 10-mile issue that I just presented to you.
Yes.
So in other words, what I'm asking you, can you give me an example where you were driving either the speed limit or within 9 miles of the speed limit where you were given a ticket?
Objection, relevance, Your Honor.
We are going to take the noon recess at this time. Ladies and gentlemen, please be back in the designated area at 1:25. Please remember the admonition, you are excused. Please be seated. The record will show the jury has left the courtroom. Ms. Arias, you may step down. Counsel, is there anything else before lunch?
No, ruling on the objection.
Why don't you approach? Please be seated. The record will show the presence of the jury, the defendant, and all counsel. To sustain the last objection, Mr. Martinez, you may continue.
Ma'am, we were talking about the car rental in Redding, California, and you ultimately were given a second car, correct?
Yes.
And the color of this car was white, correct?
Yes.
And that was more to your liking because of this issue involving the traffic citations, correct?
Yes.
And this car had a capacity of over 12 gallons per tankful, correct?
It was 10 or 12. I don't remember.
Well, okay. Do you remember, this is Exhibit 237.018. Do you remember filling up with gas in Winnemucca, Nevada?
I remember running out of gas in Nevada, and
When you say that you ran out of gas, there was absolutely no gas in your car, or you were just running low?
it was, the gas light was on, so.
When you say that the gas light was on, doesn't mean that you're not moving. It means that you are low on gasoline, correct?
Yeah, it was kind of below.
Are you saying that that's where it happened in Winnemucca, Nevada?
No, I was probably, I think he said I was 15 or 20 miles from there.
And you were able to make it to Winnemucca, correct?
No, I pulled over.
And you pulled over and did what?
I went in and asked the guy where the nearest gas station is. He said it's about 15 miles. I think he said 15 miles further. I didn't think I would make it on E, so I went and started putting gas in the car, and he came out and assisted me.
And you were putting gas from what?
From one of the gas cans.
All right. And let's just take a look at this exhibit right here. And it indicates that it's your name, right?
Yes.
It's from Winnemucca, right?
Yes.
And it indicates that the amount that you purchased was 12.175 gallons, right?
Yes.
And you paid $49.91, correct?
That's right.
And this issue involving you running out of gas, that's not something that you told us on direct examination, correct? Yes or
No, I was not.
And so you have this car that has at least a capacity of 12 gallons, correct?
Objection, foundation.
Approach.
Now, with regard to Winnemucca, you filled up your car with gas, didn't you?
Yes, I put gas in it.
All the way till it was full, right?
I probably, because I usually filled up until the
Yes or
nozzle
no?
clicked.
Yes or no? In Winnemucca, did you fill it up with gas?
I put gas in it. I probably filled it up.
So you're saying that you're not sure if you filled it up all the way with gas then, right?
That's right.
But you did make a purchase in Winnemucca pursuant to Exhibit 237.018 in which 12.175 gallons were purchased by you, right?
Yes.
And so it could be that the tank was 15 gallons of gas, right?
Objection calls for speculation.
Overruled. Jimmy, answer.
Right?
That's possible.
But at least we know that this gas tank could hold at least 12.175 gallons of gas, right?
Right.
And before you went on this trip, it started on June 2nd of 2008, correct?
Yes.
Started around 5 o'clock in the morning, correct?
It was early in the mornings, around that time.
Because you were at Reading at 8 a.m., correct?
Yes.
Well, we saw the receipts. Were you here when the receipts were shown of you renting the car at approximately 8:01?
Yes, I was here.
And so if it takes you 1 to 2 hours to drive down there, that would mean you would have to get up pretty early, right?
Yes.
And so you got up pretty early, you drove down to Reading, but in anticipation of that, you actually called somebody by the name of Daryl Brewer, right?
Yeah, and I'm sorry I didn't get up early. I was up all night. So.
Pardon?
You said I got up early. I just wanted to make that clear. I was up all night. So.
Okay, so what you're saying is you didn't sleep that night, right?
I didn't sleep that night, no.
Okay. So, but you did, in anticipation of this trip, contact an old boyfriend, right?
Yes.
And that would be Daryl Brewer, right?
Yes.
You made a number of telephone calls to him, correct?
Probably.
And when you say probably, it means that you're not sure, right?
I'm not sure, no.
So you at least made 2 calls to him, though, right?
If that's what my phone records reflect, then that would be right.
Now, I'm asking what your memory reflects.
I don't remember actually calling him before leaving on my trip.
So you have no idea as to whether or not you even called them before you went on the trip then, right?
I don't recall. Well, of course I called him before the trip, but I don't know how soon before the trip.
So you don't remember whether or not it was in May then, is that what you're saying?
I did talk to him in May.
And it was toward the end of May, correct?
Probably.
And when you keep saying probably, it means that you're not sure, but that you do not deny that you made a call, right?
That's right.
And so you made this call to him at the end of May, and you asked him whether or not he had any spare gas cans for you to use, right?
That sounds right.
No, I'm not asking what sounds right. Is that what you did?
I think I did, because he's the one I ended up borrowing them from.
Well, ma'am, are you having trouble again with your memory with regard to events then?
Yeah, because there were a few different...
So the answer is yes. You are having trouble with your memory.
With that question.
Well, are you having trouble? It's not the only question that you've had trouble with. Are you having trouble with the memory of the events leading up to your trip?
Leading up to... Yeah, I probably,
Okay.
a little bit.
And you would agree then that the events leading up to your trip were probably the end of May, and the murder was, or the killing was on June 4th of 2008. So are you saying that that whole period you're having problems with your memory? Or is it just the end of May?
Well, there are some things I recall and some things I don't.
So my question is, are you having trouble with both or just the end of May?
I'd say my whole life is like that, so both.
So you're saying that you're having trouble remembering everything or events throughout your life. Is that what you're saying?
Some things, not everything.
And sometimes you know what you can remember very well, and sometimes you can't. Is that what you're saying?
You mean can't at all or can't remember well?
Can't remember. Both well or at all?
Yeah,
You tell me.
all of the above.
And so at the end of May then, you're saying that you really don't remember whether or not you made a telephone call to Mr. Brewer. Is that what you're saying?
I don't remember specifically, but I know I called him at one point.
All right. And you did call him because you wanted to talk to him about some gas cans, right?
That wasn't the purpose of the call.
Well, that was what was discussed during that call, correct?
Okay, Goose. See you later. Take care.
I think so, yes.
You're saying you think so? Yes, correct? That's
Yes.
what you're saying. And so one of the things that you told him in discussing these gas cans was that you were going to take a trip, right?
Yes.
And that the purpose for the gas cans was that you could put gas in them, right?
Yes.
And the other thing that you told him was that the trip that you were going to make was going to be to Mesa, Arizona, right?
No.
You were here when he testified, correct?
Yes.
And he's somebody that you've had I guess, a long-term relationship with, correct?
Yes. About 4 years.
Pardon?
About 4 years we were in a relationship.
Right? And then even after that, you have had, if not a close friendship, you've had a friendship after the two of you split, correct?
It was more distant, but it was still a friendship.
Sure. And in fact, you felt comfortable. You still remembered his number, right? Telephone number, right?
Yes.
And you felt comfortable enough to ask him for a favor, right?
Certain favors, yes.
Well, that particular favor, you felt comfortable in asking him for that, right?
Which one? The gas cans?
Well, which other favor are we talking about? Are there more than one favor here that we've talked about?
I want to know what you're talking about.
No, I'm asking you. Do you remember that we started talking about gas cans? Do you remember that?
Yes.
That we've talked of nothing else other than gas cans so far. Is there anything else that you believe that we've talked about?
I wasn't sure, that's why I asked.
Ma'am, is there anything else that we have talked about?
I'm not sure, that's why I asked.
I'm asking you, is there anything else that has been posed to you other than this gas can issue involving Mr. Brewer?
Yes.
Objection, ask and answer badgering.
Sustained.
Now, you have this conversation with him involving the gas cans. It is more than one conversation, isn't it?
I don't remember.
And there could be more than one conversation. It's what you're telling us, right?
Yes.
And are you saying you did not tell him that you were going to go to Mesa when you spoke to him?
That's right, I told him after.
I'm asking you, the question is this: isn't it true that before you went on the trip, you told him you were going to Mesa?
No, that is not true.
All right. Isn't it true that as part of one or another conversation that you had, you told him that you were going to go to Arizona to visit some friends?
No, I said Utah.
You didn't. I'm asking you whether or not it's true that you told him that you were going to Mesa to visit some friends before you took the trip.
No, I said Utah.
I'm not asking you what you said, am I?
Objection, badgering.
Overruled.
Yeah, I think you are.
You're thinking. My question to you is asking you what you told them. Is that what you think it is? Whether or not you told them that you were going to go to Utah? Do you think that that's what the question was?
No.
The question was, isn't it true, ma'am, that you discussed with Mr. Brewer before the trip that you took that you needed the gas cans to go and visit friends in Mesa, Arizona? What is your answer to that?
My answer is no, I told him Utah.
And I'm asking you whether or not you think I'm asking you what you told him. Am I asking you what you told him?
That's kind of my interpretation of it. It's a yes or no question.
It is a yes or no question, isn't it?
And I answered no 3 times, yes.
And you also added something 3 times, didn't you?
Yes, the truth.
Am I asking you whether you're telling the truth?
You have asked me that.
Am I asking you right now if you're telling the truth?
I don't know, are you?
Well, have you heard that question prior to you saying that?
Yes.
You heard that question immediately before I'm telling the truth. The prosecutor asking you if you were telling the truth, you heard the prosecutor say that.
Not immediately.
Pardon?
Not immediately.
So the answer is yes or no. Did you hear the question immediately before you gave the answer that you were telling the truth?
No, not immediately.
So you did have these conversations with Mr. Brewer, and you decided to get the gas cans. Why don't you just go and buy some gas cans?
They were expensive.
And when you say they were expensive, how much is a gas can?
I don't remember, but it wasn't in my budget for my travels.
And you wanted 2 of them, right?
All right, and Mermaid says, whatever I had not happy if it's like way too strong alcohol. Oh, okay. And someone brought up every single one I get. Oh, and you gotta have world's smallest ship, and that's too much. No, the world's smallest sip. Oh, okay. Well, yeah, that, and it is Mardi Gras, by the way. So that is going on for my city, and it is a time where people are drinking strongly. But yeah, thank you, Mermaid, for letting us know about that. It must be something very strong, very powerful stuff. Maybe it was stronger than you thought. Scared. Yeah, it could hit you like a brick. So yeah, the smaller sips is much better to do. Don't take too much of it.
I don't know, I guess whatever he had.
So if you would have had 6, you would have taken 6?
No, they wouldn't have fit.
And these gas cans, when you picked them up, where did you put them?
In the trunk.
In the back?
Yes.
So you rented this car, and this car had some floor mats, correct?
No, it did not.
So then you get into this car, and you pick it up, you go back to sleep, right?
Yes, back at my brother's house.
I didn't ask you where, did I?
No.
I asked you if you went back to sleep, right?
Yes.
So you went back to sleep, and at some point, you then started to go on your trip for reals, right?
Okay, yeah.
All right, and about what time was that?
I want to say late morning, but I'm not too sure.
And you then drove south till you got to the Monterey, California area, correct?
I stopped again and slept, and then continued driving south.
What did you say?
I stopped again and slept, and then I continued driving south.
Did anybody ask you whether or not you slept?
Well, you just asked me.
I asked you whether or not you slept. Is that what my question was?
Yes, you asked if I went to sleep.
No, I asked you, when you started your trip, did you make it to Monterey, California? Do you remember me asking you that?
I remember you asking something like that, but not worded that way.
When you say something like that, again, it seems that you have a problem with your memory. Do you have a problem with your memory today?
Not in this particular case.
Okay, so after you woke up, after sleeping at your sister's house, did you begin your trip?
Yes.
And did you eventually make it to the Monterey, California area?
Yes.
And what time did you get there?
It was very, very late. I think it was even the 3rd in the morning because we had stopped in Santa Cruz first.
So you got there on the 3rd, you believe, but in any event, it was late, correct?
Yeah, it was past midnight, I think, by the time we got to Monterey.
And so in terms of miles, how many miles are we talking about?
From where to where?
From the place that you left your sister to Monterey, wherever it is that you went, and you arrived around midnight or after, or in the early morning hours of June 3rd.
Well, I'm not particularly sure. I'd say somewhere in the ballpark of 500 miles.
And so,
I know more by hours, not miles.
okay, how many hours then?
From Reading to Santa Cruz, it was approximately 6.5 to 7 hours.
And in Santa Cruz, did you meet anybody?
Yes,
And that's where you met Mr. McCartney, correct?
yes, and his roommate.
And did I ask you again if you met his roommate?
You asked if I met anybody.
No, I asked you if you met Mr. McCartney. Do you remember that question?
Yes, and I answered yes.
And so you met Mr. McCartney, and you spent the night at a place where he was living, right?
Yes.
And what time did you get up the next morning?
I don't remember, but it would have been in the morning.
I understand it was the morning. Would it have been really early, or would it not be so early in the morning?
It would have been before Jack had to go to school, so whatever time that was, it couldn't have been too late.
What time did Jack have to go to school?
I don't remember.
And so, did you have plans already to meet up with Mr. McCartney, or is it a situation where you got on the phone on the road, called him up, and said, hey, I'm coming down there, can we meet?
It was definitely beforehand because I was going to crash there.
So, when did you speak to him beforehand? Was it a week or so before? Was it days before you left? What was it?
I don't know. We spoke here and there. I don't know.
All right, and did Mr. McCartney go with you the next morning to meet with Mr. Brewer?
No.
So you did go over to Mr. Brewer's house, and one of the reasons that you went over was to talk to or see Jack, the son, right?
That was one of the reasons.
And you also had breakfast there, correct?
Yes.
And you also checked your email there, correct?
I think it was my MySpace
Pardon?
email. Yeah, it was my MySpace account.
Well, when you say that you checked your MySpace account, is your email included in the MySpace account?
There is an email system, but not my main email.
I'm asking if you checked when you checked your MySpace account, did you check any email in the MySpace account?
I don't remember.
Did you check, you mentioned that you had another email system. Did you check that other email system?
I don't remember. Probably not. I think it was just MySpace.
And what was the purpose for checking that, the MySpace account?
Hadn't done it in a few days, so.
And so you check that, and then at some point, you get some gas cans, right?
Yes.
And when in this whole sequence of events do you get the gas cans?
I don't remember.
And what color were the gas cans?
They were red.
And where did you put them?
In the trunk.
And that would be in the back, correct?
Yes.
Where was your luggage?
In the trunk.
Same place with the same area as the gas cans?
Yes.
And how much time do you spend there with Mr. Brewer?
I don't know. I think it was somewhere like a half hour, it felt like. I don't really remember.
And then you leave, right?
Yes.
But you come back again, right?
Yes.
To return a remote, right?
Right.
What kind of remote are you returning?
It was for either his TV or his DVD player, I think.
How is it that it found its way into your car?
I don't know. I think that it
Well,
was...
don't speculate. You don't know, right?
No, it was already with him. I drove away with it on accident. I don't know how I got it.
All right. And then after you returned it, you drove to Salinas, right?
Yes.
And in Salinas, you did a number of things, right?
Not really. I just did a few things.
Pardon?
I just did a few things.
Right. You did your nails, right?
Yes.
And you said it took quite a while, right?
I had to wait for a while. Yes.
In other words, the doing of the nails didn't take a long time. The fact that you probably didn't have an appointment is what took some time, right?
Yes. There are no appointments there.
And then you left Salinas and continued your trip, right? And this would be on the 3rd, right?
That's correct.
About what time was it?
It was afternoon, but I don't know what time.
You told us about the gas cans from Mr. Brewer, right?
That's right.
But you forgot to tell us something else, didn't you?
You haven't asked me yet.
Well, isn't it true that there was more than 2 gas cans involved in it, right?
Yes.
And you testified on direct examination involving the gas cans, didn't you?
Yes.
And you never testified about a 3rd gas can, did you?
No.
And this third gas can, you actually bought it in Salinas, didn't you?
Yes.
And you bought it from Walmart, didn't you?
Yes, I did.
And not only do you have 2 5-gallon gas cans, you have another gas can. How many? What's the capacity of this one?
It was the same size. No, I think it was, I don't know, it was the same size, I think.
You think it was, so now you have a capacity of 15 gallons, right?
At that moment, I did.
Well, you're saying like at that moment. Did the size of these gas cans change so that it would go from a 15-gallon capacity down to a lesser capacity?
Objection. Badger.
Let's sustain the objection.
With regard to, you keep saying that at that point you had that capacity. Was there something involving these gas cans that would not allow you to fill them up to their capacity later on?
Yes, there was.
And what is that?
I returned the gas can.
You returned it back, right?
Yes.
So that you now have a capacity of still 10 gallons, right?
Yes.
Maximum, right?
Yes.
So then why is it?
All right, and shout out to you, Zoe. Let's see. Zoe says, "Hi, Alien Miranda. Just in for a second, hitting the like, working but listening. God bless you all. And Miranda, I just subbed to your channel. I love it. Have a cheerful and relaxing night." Well, thank you, Zoe, for doing that. I appreciate it very much, and have a good time at your work. Thank you for the kind thoughts. Also, Eugene says hello to Zoe, and Eugene also has a cool channel. He does excellent music on there. For those that want to check it out. And continuing.
Ma'am. That when you go to the Arco, you fill up with gas, you remember that?
Yes.
And then you go inside, and exhibit number 237.012, do you see that there?
Yes.
That's a capacity of 10 gallons, right? Or approximately, it's 9.5494 gallons, right?
Yes.
And then 237.013, it's 2.77 gallons, right?
Where does it say that? Oh, yeah, I see that.
So you're saying that these gas cans then have a larger capacity now?
I don't know what the capacity was.
Well, you remember Mr. Brewer saying they were 5-gallon gas cans, right?
I don't know if he said that or not.
You were here when he testified, right?
I was physically here, yes. Sometimes I space out.
Pardon?
I was physically here, yes. Sometimes I space out.
And so you're saying that throughout the trial you may have spaced out and not paid attention to what's going on?
During other people's testimonies, sometimes my mind wanders.
So the answer is yes.
Yes.
And you don't remember then what Mr. Brewer may have said. Is that what you're saying?
I remember some things he said. Almost all.
But not everything.
Not every single thing.
Well, 237.011. Do you see that it says Arco and it's in Pasadena?
Yes.
Do you see the address there?
Yes.
What's the address? Read it for me.
3706 East Foothill Boulevard.
And the city and state?
Pasadena, California, 92553.
And it does talk about a debit account. You see that?
Yes.
Talks about a date of June 3rd, 2008, right?
Yes.
And a time of 8:42 p.m., right?
Yes.
And then it talks about being at pump number 2. Do you see that?
Yes.
And then it talks about the amount of gallons that are involved, right?
Yes.
8.301 gallons. And there's the price there, right?
Yes.
That is for you filling up the car, isn't it?
I don't know.
Well, you were there though, right?
Yes.
And this is first in the sequence at 8:42 p.m., right?
Yes.
And you don't know whether or not this is part of filling up the car with gas then?
I don't remember what order I filled
All
out.
right, well, you remember that we're talking about 2 5-gallon gas cans, right?
Yes,
5 plus 5 is 10, right?
that's right.
This is 8.301. Do you see that?
Yes.
So this is not the capacity, if you will, of the up to 10 gallons for those 2 gas cans, correct?
It has that capacity, so that's not correct. It's not the maximum capacity.
No, it isn't, right? So
That's
there's no
right.
reason to believe that this could be the gas cans. If you're going to take these gas cans, presumably you're going to fill them up to the top, right?
Objections, presuming something is not in evidence.
Restate your question.
You were taking those gas cans for a reason, right?
Yes.
And that was to have extra gas, right?
Originally it was.
Yes
so
or
that
no? Was it to have extra gas available to you?
At one point, yes. At another point, no.
Well, and if you want to have extra gas available to you, don't you want to have the maximum amount?
I guess.
Well, no, you were driving. You're the one that asked to borrow these gas cans. If you have 5, let's just say 10 gallons of space available, and you want to make sure that you have enough gas, wouldn't you fill it up to approximately 10 gallons?
Objection, what's the relevance of this? It's 8.3 gallons.
I don't know.
Ma'am, what's going on is that Exhibit 237.001 is you filling up that Ford Focus with gas, isn't it?
I don't remember what order I filled up.
And this was at 8:42 p.m., right?
Yes.
And you went and you pumped your own gas, didn't you?
Yes.
And then and you paid with a debit card. Do you see that?
Yes.
You had a MasterCard back then, right?
I don't remember what it was, MasterCard or Visa.
But you paid for that with a credit card or Visa or MasterCard, whatever it was, right?
Yes.
With regard to the gas that you purchased inside, which is 237.012, you paid cash, right?
That's right.
And cash is harder to track in terms of sales than a credit transaction. Wouldn't you agree?
Not if you save the receipt.
Not if you save your receipt. What if you don't save your receipt, ma'am? Wouldn't you agree that a cash transaction is harder to keep track of than a credit transaction?
Yes, I would agree with that.
And in this case, you initially said, I want to pay $40, right?
Yes.
And then it's the amount of gallons that you got for that was 9.594 gallons, correct?
Yes.
And that was the $40, right?
Yes.
Do you see the time there?
That would be 10:53.
Well, how about 8:46:50? If you see the 20:46:50, wouldn't that be 8:46:50?
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. That's correct.
And that is 4 minutes after the transaction in 237.001. Do you see that?
Yes. Wait, what was the other time? I'm sorry.
There's 8:42.
Okay.
You see that?
Yes.
8:46:50. Do you see that?
Yes. I was sorry. I was looking at the other time on the top.
Do you see that right there?
Yes.
It's 8:46:50, right?
Okay.
So that's 4 minutes after the transaction. That's the debit transaction, right?
Yes.
And then you have 237.013. It's the same article, right?
Yes.
And this one is at what time?
This one is at. What time was it?
How about 8:53?
53. Yes.
And that's 5 minutes later than the transaction involving the approximately 10 gallons of gas, right?
Yes.
And during that time, that 5 minutes, that would allow you to go from the inside out to your car again, wouldn't it? 5
Yes.
minutes. It was that close, correct?
Yes.
And the time span between Exhibit 237.001, which is 8:42, to the next one, which is 8:46, which is 4 minutes, that would give you time to go back between the car and the register or inside the store, correct?
Yes.
And so now, we know that at that particular gas station, you spent 237.011, I'm sorry. It's $35 there, right?
Yes.
And 6 cents, but let's leave the cents aside. And 237.012, that's $40. So far you spent $75 in gas, right?
Yes.
And then if you add from 237.013, if you add 9, because we're rounding up, you're now talking $84 in gas that you spent, right?
I don't know. I'm not good at math, but okay.
Assuming the math is correct.
Assuming the math is correct.
It's between $80 and $84 in gas that you spent, correct?
Yes.
And so you've now driven all the way down there, and one of the reasons that you told us on direct examination that you wanted these gas cans was that gas was cheaper in Arizona and Utah. Do you remember telling us that on direct?
No, I said Nevada and Utah.
All right, gas is cheaper in Nevada and Utah, right?
Yes.
You weren't filling up in Nevada or Utah, were you?
No.
You were filling up in California, right?
Yes.
Where the gas is as expensive there as it is probably throughout the state, right?
No.
Or well, it was expensive in California, isn't it?
More than Nevada and Utah, yes.
And so you had actually, and California is kind of a progressive state in the sense that it has gas stations almost everywhere, doesn't it?
Injection foundation, relevance.
Restate your question.
On your travels on that date, you went from the Monterey area down to Salinas. Any trouble seeing any gas stations there?
No.
From Salinas all the way down to Pasadena. Any problem seeing any gas stations there?
No.
So it seems that your fears about gas in California were not well founded then, right? There was gas in places that you were traveling in California, right?
I didn't have any fears in California of that, so no.
You had fears somewhere else, correct?
Yes.
Arizona, for example, right?
No.
Well, you did end up going through Arizona, right?
Yes, I did.
And so, presumably, is that where the fears were, in Arizona?
No, I'd driven that highway many times. I knew where the gas stations were there.
So you didn't really have a need for gas if you're going to drive through Arizona then, right?
No, that's right, yes.
Pardon?
That's right.
And you were telling us, though, that approximately every 150 to 170 miles, your car was running out of gas. Do you remember telling us that?
150 to 170 miles?
Yes, ma'am.
I don't remember saying that.
Well, do you remember that you said that you had problems with that your Ford Focus had problems with gas, that it was using too much gas on direct examination?
I remember running out quickly, yes.
Well, you told us that this car, the Ford Focus, was using an inordinate amount of gas, correct?
No, that wasn't my thought.
Well,
It ran out of gas quickly.
you told us that from Pasadena, then you filled up at Desert Center, right?
Yes.
That's approximately 170 miles down the road, right?
I don't know.
Well, you drove it.
It sounds right.
Injection foundation, she asked, man.
Sustained. Ask another question.
And after that, you then said that you drove out to Buckeye and you filled up there, right?
Yes.
That's approximately another 170 miles, right?
Injection foundation.
Overruled.
I guess.
Well, you did drive that, though. You
Yes,
did
I
tell
did.
us that, right?
Yes.
And you told us that both of those times you filled up, right?
Yes.
And you filled that car up with 12 gallons of gas approximately every time, right?
Whatever it would have been, I filled up, I think.
Well, if you were running low, we've already seen the capacity, then it would be approximately 12 gallons, wouldn't it?
Injection
Yes,
foundation,
I guess.
Sustained.
Ma'am, you said that you filled up in Winnemucca, right? And your car was low, ran out of gas, right?
It did not run out of gas. I was low.
Oh, so it didn't run out of gas, and yet you were able to put over 12 gallons worth of gas in Winnemucca, correct?
That's correct.
And so if you are running low on gas in Desert Center, that would mean that you would put approximately 12 gallons worth of gas, right?
Approximately.
And then from that point over to Buckeye, you said you put gas into the car again, right?
Yes, I did.
So that would mean that you would put another 12 gallons worth of gas in the car if it was running low, based on the previous computations.
Overruled. You may have.
If you base it on those computations, but I stopped in Buckeye because the Shell station there always had cheap gas.
I'm not asking you whether or not it had cheap gas, right? Am I?
No.
Do you remember that on direct examination, the way you processed this was that, oh, this car used an inordinate or a lot of gas. Do you remember telling us that portion?
Yes.
And that as a consequence of that, do you remember telling us that you stopped at Desert Center, right? And
Yes,
put gas in it.
I did.
And then you also said, and because of this problem that it was running low on gas, you also stopped in Buckeye, right? You told us that,
Yes,
right?
I did.
So if this car is running low on gas, that means that it's close to empty, right?
Yes.
And so that would mean that if it's close to empty, it would be around 12 gallons that you put at Desert Center inside the car tank, right?
Approximately.
Approximately.
Yes.
And then it would be another 12 gallons worth of gas there at Buckeye, right?
Presumably, yes.
Well, given the computations that we have going. And then you made your way over to Mesa, right?
Yes, I did.
And how long did it take you to get to Mesa?
That hour of the morning, not long because there was no traffic.
And how much gas did you use?
I don't know.
And all the while you have these gas cans full of gas, right?
Yes, I did.
And because you filled up in Pasadena, correct?
Yes.
And where did you put these gas cans?
They were in my trunk.
And again, in the back part of the trunk?
Yes.
And you maintain that this third gas can, that you did not have a third gas can then, right?
No, not at that time.
When you keep saying that at that time, I'm asking after Salinas, you did not have that gas can, right?
That's correct.
Take a look at 237.008. Do you see that? Do you see the receipt?
Yes.
And at the very bottom it says 5G. That actually means 5 gallons, right?
Yes.
Caro Carb is the type of gas can, correct?
Yes.
And it's $12.96, right?
Yes.
Ma'am, at the time that you bought it, one of the things that you were telling us was that you were very financially strapped, for lack of a better phrase, right?
That's right.
So if you want to save on gas, which is on the price of gas, which is what you say is your ultimate goal, right?
At the time that I wanted gas cans, that was my ultimate goal.
Right. So that was your ultimate goal at the time that you talked to Mr. Brewer, right?
That's correct.
So if you want to save on gas, why is it then that you're willing to pay $13 for a gas can, which would increase, if you will, the price of travel
Well,
by $13?
that wasn't a calculation that I made when I bought it. That's why I returned it.
Do you have the receipt that you took it back?
I didn't get a receipt.
So Walmart did not give you any documentation whatsoever when you took that gas can back.
I don't think so.
Well, I'm asking you just whether, I just want to be as clear as we can about this. You believe that when you took that gas can back, Walmart did not give you any written document evidencing that or showing that?
I don't recall having to fill anything out or any documents regarding that, no.
You weren't even given a printout or anything at all, right?
I'm not saying that, I'm just saying I don't remember.
And you would agree, though, that if you bought the gas can and it was approximately $13, it would not make any financial sense if you were looking to save for gas, correct?
I do agree with that.
And the other thing is, if you're looking to save for gas and you're trying to do this, wouldn't it have made more sense to have filled up in Pasadena then driven up to Nevada, if that's where you were going, and once you get to Nevada, fill up the gas cans. Wouldn't it have made more sense then?
Yes, it would have if that were my goal.
Well, your goal at that time when you were filling up was to travel up to Utah. Didn't you tell us that?
Yes.
So you didn't do that though, right?
I did not end up going directly to Utah.
I'm not saying whether or not you ended up going directly to Utah. At the time that you filled up these cans, your plans were to go to Utah, weren't they?
Yes.
Because of the time on there, correct?
Yes.
Previously, you had told us that you didn't speak to Mr. Alexander until after that, right?
That's right.
In fact, you were at getting some coffee or something, right? At Starbucks, something like that. Or some drink at Starbucks, correct?
Yeah, strawberry drink.
Right, at Starbucks, right?
Yes.
And so, if you are going to go from Pasadena to Nevada, you can make it on a tank of gas, can't you? Overall.
I've never driven that freeway, so, I mean, this is the USA, so I would guess yes, but I've never driven that road, especially not at night. So.
You didn't think that perhaps all that way from Pasadena to Las Vegas there wouldn't be a gas station? Did you believe that that was the case?
No, I didn't believe that was the case.
So if you really are trying to save on gas, you would have continued driving through California and filling up in California until you got to Nevada. And then you would have been able to purchase the cheaper gas, right?
That was a long question. I'm sorry, will you say it again?
Well, it would have made more financial sense for you to keep driving from Pasadena northbound, northeastbound, until you got closer to the border, right?
That's right.
And then when you got to Nevada, then it would have made more sense to fill the gas cans, right?
Financially, yes.
And that was your goal, correct?
At the time I got the gas cans, that was my goal.
Your goal changed, apparently, is what you're saying, right?
I still wanted to save gas, but my priority changed.
Okay, and so with regard to exhibit number 237.012, this is the one that's approximately 10 gallons. And then 237.013, it's approximately 2.7 gallons. You see that?
Yes.
You were the person that actually put the gas into the gas cans, right?
That's right.
And you know that one of the gas cans was 5 gallons, right?
Yes.
The other was 5 gallons, right?
Well, I believe it was because that's what Daryl said.
They were the same size, weren't they?
They were the same size.
And so if that's the capacity, the most that each can carry is about 10 gallons, right?
Yes, I guess.
Yet you were able to put 10 gallons plus 2.774 gallons in containers, weren't you?
No, I think the other one, the 10-gallon, was probably the car.
Was what?
Probably the car, I would guess.
What did you, tard?
Car.
So you're saying that this one right here, 237.012, went to the car.
That's very possible.
And you're saying that this one right here, 237.001, went into the gas can. Is that what you're saying?
That sounds right.
Okay. Why are you breaking it up then, this purchase? If you're going to put 10 gallons in the gas can, what you're saying is you went to the pump, went to the gas cans, and you put 8.3 gallons worth of gas in it, right?
Yes.
Then you made that debit transaction, right?
Yes.
And then you put gas in the car, according to you, right
Yes.
here, at 8:46, right?
Right.
You went inside to do that, right?
I think so, yes.
Well, no, it says initial payment. You can't pay at the pump, right?
Sometimes you can, but I don't know about a
Well, you think you can pay at the pump there, right?
If I remember correctly, I don't know about ARCO, so, I mean, I prepaid is what I know.
Yeah, you did prepay, and you prepaid inside, didn't you?
Objection, asked and answered.
Listening.
Well, ma'am, let's just get to the bottom of this. You say that you don't know. It's 237.012. Do you see right here?
Oh, yes, clear.
Well, let me just ask the question before we.
Yes.
And that was around 9 o'clock in the evening, right?
Somewhere, that sounds right.
Well, that's what you told us. Can you give us a closer approximation?
No.
So you go there, and one of the things that you said is that you got a strawberry drink, something like that?
Yeah, strawberry frappuccino.
And while you were there, you call Mr. Burns, right?
I don't know if I called him from Starbucks, but I know we talked a few times that night.
And the plan was still for you to go up to Utah, right?
Yes.
And if you were to leave Pasadena at about the time that you said that you were going to leave, you would have arrived up in the West Jordan area at about maybe 10, 11 o'clock the next morning, right?
If I drove straight through, I think that's right.
It's about a 12-hour drive, I think is what you testified to, right?
That sounds right, yes.
But in talking to Mr. Burns, you never told him that you were not going to go straight to Utah, did you?
Judge, I have a question about that.
No, because I was going to go.
So the answer is no, you didn't, right?
No, I didn't tell him that.
In any conversations prior to arriving in Mesa that night or the next morning, you never communicated to Mr. Burns that you were going to take a detour, did you?
No, I didn't.
And you never contacted Matthew McCartney to tell him that you were going to take a detour, right?
I attempted to contact him before I decided to drive out to Mesa, I think.
Answer is you didn't let him know, though, right?
No, he didn't answer.
The bottom line is he didn't know either, right?
That's right.
And Mr. Brewer, you didn't call to let him know that either, right?
I think I called him too. I called both of them because I couldn't find my car charger or my phone charger. It was a phone charger.
You called both of them, but you didn't let either of them know of the change in plans, correct?
Say that again.
You called both of them at whatever time, but you never informed either of them of the change in plans, your supposed change in plans, right?
Yes, that's correct.
One of the things that you took on this trip, of course, was the gas cans, right?
Yes, I did.
Right. The other thing that you took when you took this trip was that you also brought a gun, didn't you?
Absolutely not.
Well, do you remember having a conversation on June 10th of 2008 with Detective Flores of the Mesa Police Department?
Yes, I do.
You initiated that call by calling him first, right?
Yes, I did.
And after you called him, he called you back, right?
Yes.
And I think previously you said, well, I called him to sort of find out what was going on with the investigation, right?
Yes.
That was one of the reasons, right?
Yes.
You wanted to know what was going on, right?
Yes.
And during that conversation, you and he discussed a number of things, right?
Yes.
And during that time that you were talking to him, part of the purpose was, at that time, again, not only to get information, but the way you put it was to also sort of cast suspicion away from you, right?
Yes, for the time being. That was
Well, that phone call, one of your objectives was to get the detective to look somewhere else, right? Not you.
Yes.
And we know the reasons, but some of the reasons was that you didn't want to be incarcerated or be involved in the prosecution for this particular killing, right?
That would be accurate.
And so what you were doing, part of this telephone call, was in your best interest. In other words, you were trying to do things that benefited you, right?
I wouldn't put it like that.
Well, you were doing things so that he wouldn't see you as a suspect, right?
Yes.
So if he didn't see you as a suspect, that would benefit you, right?
I guess it depends on how you look at it.
Well, no, I'm asking how you would look at it. If you don't want him to think of you as a suspect, that's the goal. That's part of the goal, right?
That was part of the goal for the call.
Right.
Yes.
That was part of the goal for the call. And so you wouldn't say anything, at least in a planned way, you wouldn't say anything that would make it look like you were a suspect, right?
I would attempt to not say anything.
Right. And it would be based on the world of knowledge that you had at that time, right?
I guess.
Well, no. You wouldn't call up and say, oh, I was the person that killed Mr. Alexander. You're not calling to say that, right?
No, I wasn't ready to say that.
No. And you're not calling to say, you know, you really should look at this part of the desert because that's where I threw the gun, right?
No.
No, what you were trying to do is you were trying to say, look, I'm giving you all the information that I know so that you can look at somebody else, right?
I wasn't thinking of somebody else, just I was thinking not me.
All right, I'm giving you this information so that you don't look towards me, right?
Yes.
So when you are doing that, you wouldn't purposely say things to hurt you, would you? Hurt your case.
I don't know.
Exactly, Mermaid. It is extremely unlikely for that to be. She's coming up with lies that are really easy to debunk. She is trying to slander his name to make what she did more justified, but it wasn't justified. Yeah, women don't fit in that underwear, that's true. And that's like saying she could wear a girl's training bra bunny. Right. Honey. Yeah, right. And you see, she had to come up with something shocking to try to shock the jury and shock the room. But we here in the spaceship can see through the lies perfectly. Yeah, women do not fit. They, in that, and she's completely slandering him and ruining his good name. Yeah, the women were like, "What the f is this?" Especially in the audience, the family. You know, the family members are totally just cringing over it. Yeah. Okay, YouTube's working again. That's good to know. That's good to know. Alright, looks like the YouTube homepage on my end is functioning. Okay, sorry, I get it. It'd be weird to wear boy undies, but I bet it's half true. I bet he wanted her to wear something girly that way and twisted it to make it weird as usual. So, okay, you think that what it could be is that he was trying to come up with something like that, but then eventually something cute, but then she's trying to twist it to make it weird. Okay. Very interesting. Interesting take. Yeah, because that's what she does. A liar and twister of the truth. Indeed, she is certainly like a devil. I bet he wanted her to wear a Gwen Stacy or like Spider Girl thong. Yeah, yeah. So very good observation, Mermaid, and that sounds like something very likely that it was something girly or something funny like that. Something not funny, but something of a uh, nature didn't have to do with little boys, but she's twisting it to fit her narrative. Because a lot of people do things and couples do stuff in their bedrooms and things like that. But of course, anything with the art of speech can be twisted a certain way. So that's what she was doing, for sure. Right, and she's like little kids' underwear. And Mermaid said, cause the well outfit, it's like that they have like Spider-Man, them, or any characters really, especially Hot Topic and Shops. Oh, and I like Hot Topic. They have stuff like that there. Definitely, I know what you mean. And she's like, oh yeah, it was kid related. He was a pedo, like everyone would have known. You know, like what Moki said, that if she was with a guy that was being a pedophile, of she would head on out of there. Yeah. Yeah, and because women order like IDK strawberry shortcake lingerie or like Care Bears, I've seen it on Shein. Yeah, Shein and Temu both sell those things that you can get themed from kids show themed clothing or lingerie or whatever, but it doesn't mean that they're trying to do explicit like things with children though. All right, and Mermaid says, yeah, because women order like, okay, and yeah, and she honestly wanted to make him look bad. Right, exactly, and yeah, and Mermaid said, yeah, she honestly wanted to make him look bad. Yeah, and yeah, and Goose, yeah, mermaids could never possibly. Yeah, that's true. Mermaids, with the fin, they're not able to have the luxury of that. But basically, in this context, she is showing her manipulation to the fullest right there, and how she says it in such a calm, cold tone. Right. Right, said, but she totally told herself with the evasive stuff that, like, she definitely made it seem like they hit up those shops. Sure they do. Sure they did. Oh yeah, I'm sure they went to those kind of shops and those places where they have that. Especially 2008 was like the highlight of that era of the when all those bands were out and that culture was in full swing of the types of Hot Topic stuff to wear. So, and that kind of with the Spider-Man underwear, etc. So I think it was probably something of a female outfit that she is perverting into something else. So, and she consented to it. So she's also into pedophile stuff, according to that logic. Yeah, it's just absurd. All right, and Mermaid says they were freaks, and he did. I want to say with her, like, he liked having lots of freaks, but that's so sad, but normal with their religion. Yeah, see, with their religion, they were trying to say they wanted her to, both of them, to follow their religious order and follow their religious morals. But by doing that, they repressed their desires, and it made them even more into that, and they suppressed it, and they got into some weird, different, weird stuff like that. Okay, and but yeah, shout out to Mermaid. She is amazing people, and at the same time, we do want to focus on the Jodi topic though, and also, by the way, we're doing some commentary on that. Yes, yes, Goose. The mermaids do give the best kisses in the sea. They do. They are like star kiss, sun kiss, like the orange juice, with the like starfish. Now I do want my mermaid in the chat to continue to talk about the Jodi Arias, and that is where uh, to solve this case with us. And I appreciate you here, Goose, and thank you for the kind compliments. Also, all right, mermaid said they love polygamy and open relations, but these women secretly lie to themselves and don't like it. Yeah, exactly, mermaid. And also, what we did with polygamy, and that is something I do want to make clear is that the Mormons, Latter-day Saints, they practice polygamy, where they're not like the mainstream Christianity, and they have a prophet, and they also have the Bible in a separate book, too. And in the Joseph Smith had multiple wives. Although they do not practice that now, still many of these people would likely practice the polygamy. Yeah, I do agree, and that could have opened up a gap for them to do these kind of weird activities. Also, the real mermaids you see that blow bubbles are very cool. Oh yeah, mermaids that are the true shout to Mary Toodles. They're the true OGs. Blow bubbles the most. And the bubbles are the most enchanting ones that you have, because the bubbles of the mermaids is filled with so much magic and enchantment that it's all that one needs. And they're very cool to look at. All right, and Mermaid says, like, it's not okay for women to trust me and they don't enjoy it. Oh, I agree. The women usually seem to probably get jealous and they get upset over that. A lot of them are not into that. And it's kind of like objectifying them too. Right. And said yes, and those are cool, especially for holding their breath. Yeah, it's good for holding their breath, and they can put a bubble on their head to take them out of water. Yes. So they can have some oxygen. They don't need oxygen because they have gills, but they still use the bubble over their head to help even more with the oxygen. Yeah. All right. And Goose says, I enjoy giving them, even though I know they don't. Right. And Maureen said, kids love that stuff. Would be such a cool job. Oh yeah, SpongeBob loves blowing bubbles. And it would be by the way, is that something that he likes to do? Yeah, definitely super cool. Have you seen the mermaids they hire and they do all this stuff? Oh yeah, they blow bubbles and do all kinds of different tricks and things, and they like to distract the sailors on the high seas. Definitely. You'll have a mermaid that'll go on the rock, and everybody in the sailing ship will just drop everything and go stare. Yeah. That's what we see on our high seas adventures. Yeah, super cool indeed. Yeah. Alright, said there's videos of them and they have hoses when they breathe airtime, or just float up. Yeah. That is something very cool. It's very cool. videos of them and have hoses where they breathe air and time to time just to float up. Yeah, and it's like a bubble's like an insulator. You know, it's like an insulation. I've seen mermaid blow out a heart before in water. Oh yeah, yeah. They blowing hearts because they're magical and they're able to do stuff like that. Yeah, I on my high seas journeys I've seen different colored hearts being blown, including the rainbowish bubbles too. Yo ho! All hands, strap the mermaid in front of the ship. Save sails. Yeah, and Goose. A lot of the ships do have on the sail. Yeah, on the ship definitely right there in the front of it, and right on the bow. The mermaid, usually those ships would have a mermaid statue that would be carved onto it, and that's exactly what we do for our safe sailing as she guides us through the seas. Absolutely. And they're usually in aquarium tank, and there's some records of pools like real life. You know, it'd be cool, mermaid, if they had a mermaid pool game based on like mermaids. That would be so cool for us to watch. We'll know that Goose and I would be in that. Him and I would go to that pool immediately, where because the mermaids are the most enchanting. Yeah. And shout out to all of you, appreciate all being here. And it's mermaids have a seductive charm. I'm serious. Like even the sirens, like they go see. Jodi was more of a siren, where she goes and like deletes the men instantly. Okay. And mermaid says, "Yeah, sirens. Yeah, sirens." Sadly, I'm the only mermaid in there because I love swimming in the water. Everyone doesn't want to. Yeah, you see, mermaid, you go to great lengths where others do not. You go to high seas of the pool rooms where everyone else doesn't go. Very brave, absolutely. And you know the dark secrets of the pools itself, and that is why you are the best mermaid on the planet, and all the galaxy too. Because there's mermaids in space too, but you're the greatest of all. Yeah. Everyone else is really scared of the backroom water, but I get it. Oh, there are some crazy in those back rooms. There are tons of mermaids not mermaids. There are tons of statues, and people do not dare to go in there because of the entities and the spirits that lurk. Right, exactly. And mermaid said, "You are the nicest alien, because aliens how salty scare me." Oh yes, a lot of the aliens are creepy and do experiments on the living, and I think are quite inhumane. So I want to show that not all aliens are like that. But yeah, they'll just. I think some of them seem demonic at times, and others are just curious and want to explore. Sometimes they're UFO or saucer or cigar shaped. Just hovers around and darts off. It just depends. Mermaid said they should add mermaid in one. Maybe she could talk a little and go away. Yeah, they could add that. And also what I mean is have the pool designed like how a mermaid world would look, with mermaid statues, it's etc. that would be really cool to see. Okay, I have come back. So yeah, they should add mermaid one. Maybe she could talk a little. Yeah, because if you had like a, especially with the bubbles and the kisses that we're all talking about, if they incorporate that into the game, that would be something cool to explore. That's something that I gotta go make. I'll make that game. And the mermaids will capture our hearts and minds definitely. Oh, shout out to the people in chat. Shout out to people in chat. Alien Homegi. It would be so freaking cool. I want to also make a game like that. Yes, yes. And you certainly will play it. And at some point when you make it, that would be cool too. There, put our creative minds together and work on that. And the mermaids could be helpful, friends, love, interesting, interest for those who want that, and could be scary. The evil mermaid, right? Yeah, yeah. The evil mermaids, that would be the wicked ones. Yeah, you could have like a dark pool where you have the evil mermaid section, and it'll be like a Jodi Arias type mermaid. As I said, they're called sirens. I'll give you all a breakdown about sirens. How about that? Because there's a reason their shrieking sound was like a siren that we call now. Yeah, it would be good. In the Greek mythology, sirens are enchanting but deadly creatures known for their siren song, a melody so beautiful it lured sailors to shipwrecks on rocky shores of their island. People do try to make these things, but they're never too good. Hate to say. Yeah, that's true. In Mermaid, whenever we make, or I or you make a game, of give feedback about it so we could get it just right. Origins and appearance. While modern pop culture often depicts them as mermaids, the original Greek sirens were half woman, half bird. Bird women. They were usually, but a siren we know in the West is like a mermaid that's not that nice. Like an evil one. They were typically described with a head torso of a woman and the wings, claws, and legs of a bird. The mermaid shift. The transition from bird-like to fish-like mermaids happened during the Middle Ages as their images was conflated with water spirits and sea folk. I like sirens. I'm unsure if mermaids are real. I also think about horsemen. Yeah, the Minotaur. That's probably not what a Minotaur is, but that's... Okay, mermaid, I'll explain to you. On the channel, we talk about the fallen angels, etc., and there's a theory that those aliens from the past, of those watchers, they created hybrids with humans and beasts of the earth and everything in the sea. So those half man, half horse, or half bird, half human, and the mermaids were either two things. They were either the descendants or hybrid creation of alien fallen angel genetics, or they were the fallen angels, aliens themselves, disguised as mermaids at that time. Now they come across as aliens, and from what we talked about yesterday, they're coming across as time travelers. So that is something else that we do. Yeah, so that's what I think they are. Transition from bird like fish. Okay, so mythological backstory. Ovid, they were companions of Persephone when she was abducted by Hades. They were either given wings by the gods to help search for her, or cursed into their monstrous forms by Dementor failing to protect her. Oh, let's see. Oh, okay, understood, mermaid. And mermaid says, "I'm gonna now that just my opinion. Aliens and mermaids are not nice beings; they're demons." I agree, mermaid. I think that's what they are. Yeah. Only God knows, and there could be ones that are nice. Only the Lord knows, but a lot of them are something nefarious. Right. And let's see another thing about mermaid. Oh, interesting. The Book of Enoch talks about mermaid. This is really we were right. Imagine being a demon and a human. Yeah, it's like it's a hybrid. Yeah, it has a Merlin from King Arthur was a demon human hybrid, but he chose to believe in God and use his powers for good. Yes, God became flesh for us so we may not perish. That is true, mermaid. Amen. Okay, so the primary source of this connection is the Book of Enoch, an ancient Jewish religious work not included in the standard canonical Bible. Wives of the Watchers. According to Enoch 19:2, the women who went astray with the fallen angels' watchers were transformed into sirens. All right, so the women that went with fallen angels were made into those mermaids, sirens. Transfer context: sirens is often attributed to modern readers as mermaids. The belief in God cursed these women to become water spirits for their role in corrupting humanity and producing an Nephilim. So it says, according to the Book of Enoch, that the mermaids, which I do think they're demon, they're women that went with the fallen angels and created hybrids. They went with the aliens and which are the fallen angels, and then they became mermaids. Scared. According to the Book of Enoch. Mermaid, that is true. Some of the creatures of the earth were corrupted, and the Bible says that, and the Book of Enoch says that, and the other Abrahamic texts say that too. That they took, like the dinosaurs, for instance, may have been creations of the fallen ones, because there are creatures, mermaid, that God said were abominations, and He caused the Great Flood, like orcs, those minotaurs, those half human, half horse things, was abomination. So that is true. There are abominations. I don't know if I believe Book of Enoch, but I believe this. Oh, okay, understood. Yeah, I think there's truth in the Book of Enoch, but you don't have to believe in it. But the Book of Enoch is I believe, a scripture that was canonical, that was not included in the Bible, but it's in the Ethiopian Orthodox Bible. Because there's lots of books that are taken out, and I think they all have a message to show. Right. It is possible, it is real, but it is possible not. Who knows on Jesus and God? Yes, only they know about this. What is and what isn't. Within some contemporary charismatic, were focused on Christian circles, mermaids are characterized as marine spirits, water demons, hybrid offspring. Some theories suggest that the fallen angels didn't just mate with humans; they also sinned against fish, creating hybrid aquatic anomalies that survived the Great Flood. Right, that is true, Mermaid. Yes, and there's lots of Gnostic gospels that may not be true or may be true, some may not be true. There's some really far out ones that say that there's another God and then our God. There are two different ones, which I don't think that was necessarily true. But that the Book of Enoch doesn't say that. But that's just some example of some kind of far out texts. But I do think there are truth to some of these texts. I do think that the mermaids are offspring of fallen angel and fish interaction, because it does say they went with creatures of the sea and beasts of the earth, and that creates those hybrid things like uh, the uh, the Griffith and etc. It was a scroll that will title the Book of Enoch, but it was not added to the King James Bible since it dates it was founded, etc. Okay, understood. Now, originally there was the Catholic Bible too, and there were some books in there that were taken out. And I personally just feel all the books should just stay in the Bible. Like, I don't think it should be added or taken away from it. But I do think the King James Bible has the way it's translated in Old English is, that's how you could really grasp what was going on in that language. Because in our modern English, it does not convey certain Bible stories correctly. So the King James Version is excellent for Bible study to really know what was going on, because sometimes things could be misconstrued with biblical texts that are not in Old English. Oh, Jehovah's Witnesses, yeah. Well, that's good that you do that. They need to know our truth. This sounds like Jehovah's Witnesses. They believe Michael is bigger than Jesus. Yeah, I don't. Yeah, the Jehovah's Witnesses. It's not canonically, no offense to anybody, in my opinion, which I think is a fact. Yeah, it's not canonical Christianity, and I think they think Jesus was an angel. I'll give you a summary of what they think, because I gotta figure this out too. Okay. Oh yeah, and also the Mormons do too. The Latter-day Saints allegedly think that God was on earth, and there's another God, and another God, and another God. Yeah, I don't think that is true either. Yeah, it's bizarre. Remember, Mermaid, there were Jesus warned that there would be false messengers, prophets that would deceive the original canonical Christianity and make something else out of it. So they are out there to try to deceive the original message. Right. Yes, I agree, Mermaid. It is wrong. He isn't an angel. He is God in human form. Right. And the name Jehovah is a name of God from the Old Testament, but the Jehovah's Witnesses made it into something else that wasn't what it was supposed to be, in my opinion. Here, let's go here. Right, it's super hard to understand and believe Jesus was God and is God, and God could make himself a human. It took me my whole life to get it. Yeah, Mermaid, I also agree it is complicated. That's why some religions don't believe in the Trinity, because it's very complicated. But yeah, it's just God's realm of understanding is beyond our understanding. Right. Joe witnesses Yahweh many names and languages that translate. Jesus Christ, yeah, he's the Son of God. Yeah. Yes, that is true. That's why, for instance, like, there are religions, like in Islam, they believe he was a prophet. They don't believe he was, because it's hard. Understandably, it's hard to understand, and they thought that the Trinity was a form of polytheism or paganism, because they thought that God is one, and associating partners with him is wrong. Which, yeah, that is a good argument to make. It would make sense, and there was many prophets that were sent, and they think Jesus was just a prophet that was sent. But understandably, because it is complicated, but studying the theology more, it makes he was actually the Son of God, attribute of God in human form. Because King David prayed to the Spirit. There's just God's more abstract than our understanding, but He is one too. Yeah, but definitely I can understand why people would think it's complicated. I also agree it's complex as well. Yeah. And Islam, they believe that Jesus is chained in heaven and is in the Quran. I read it. Right. God is an incredible master and knows exactly what he's doing. Right, and also, yeah, because thing in Mermaid, glad that you saw that. Yeah, they think he was, from my understanding of it, Mermaid, yeah, they think he was the Messiah, the Son of God. They don't believe he was God in human form. That was the thing about Muslims. Yes, a mermaid is married. That is true. And a thing about I think is important is everyone had their own interpretations of the religion, but we as Trinitarian Christians we have a different interpretation of it than they do. But I understand why it was complicated for them to understand about the Trinity, and but I could explain it. It's like it's one computer with three screens, the Trinity. It's not three computers with three different screens. They Yes, I do agree. I do agree. It's the only religion that seems to have Jesus in their book over the other religions, right? And they have a different in there. They have books that have to do with Gnostic Gospels. Some of them were put in there that weren't put in the Bible from that tradition of that time. But yes, they do have Jesus in there, and they have Mary too as well. Uh, and they have a different interpretation than we do. They think that it's an idolatry to have him as a god status and a Trinitarian. Uh, a Trinitarian of they don't believe the Trinity. They believe that God is one person and Jesus was a great prophet. Yeah, but it is really wild that they have Jesus in there. I agree. Yeah, and I will say the aliens, angels, the mermaids, etc. on the spaceship are the most gorgeous women on the internet. So yeah, they can truly there's history here of the the gentleman getting captivated by the ladies on the spaceship, definitely. Shout out to all of them. Yeah, the thing about which I don't, as I said, it's good that people like the Muslims believe in God. It's good they believe in God and they believe in Jesus in their own way. But I understand it's complicated. And I don't, not against anybody that thinks anything different. But yeah, I personally think the Trinity is true, but many people don't think it's true, and I understand that. And whatever the truth is, may the Lord enlighten us what it is, and let us all be open to whatever the truth is. But yes, as for instance, Muhammad was a polytheist, a pagan. He believed in multiple gods. Then he was visited, they believe, by Angel Gabriel to give them the final revelation, and he went through a lot of different battles. Like there was a battle where there was like 300 of them versus thousands of the pagans, but they were able to win. And they had beginning, although there's complicated relations with Christianity, of course, throughout its history. They had alliances at different points, but of course it sometimes wasn't always nice. But they eventually went and got bigger and bigger. But yes, they do believe in Jesus as a prophet and God, but in oneness of God, not a Trinity. So yeah, it's interesting. Yes, it is crazy, absolutely. And there's in the Quran they have Jesus and different stories about him. For instance, there's a gospel of Thomas that talks about Jesus being an infant, talking that his life, about his life and his death and his resurrection, and that Mary was by a date tree, like a palm tree, and then she gave birth. It kind of a different version than the baby in the manger, but technically Jesus was the wise men. In our Christian interpretation, actually came later than the original Christmas story. But yeah, they have these different stories about Jesus I've never heard of before, that were based on very old scrolls that from a long time ago. Kind of like how Book of Enoch and those other ones were in a cave somewhere. That's kind of like what those were from. But yeah, it is wild, definitely. Yeah, amen, mermaid. May you find a wonderful friend soon. Yeah. For a goose. All right. So Jehovah Witnesses worship God Creator, whom they identify by the name Jehovah, and reject the Trinity, believing it is unscriptural. Jesus Witness believe that Jesus is God and Son, creation. They identify him. Oh, thank you, mermaid. It was a good conversation. Okay, now you know what? Actually, and where I am, I have to get some things done myself, and I'll see you later on your stream. And I'm also gonna end the stream. It's we uh, did it long enough for tonight. We did it, and Milky had some stuff to take care of, but she was here earlier. Shout out to her. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Goose, mermaid, etc. Chat. I love all of you very much. Appreciate everybody. And at this point in time, we are going to end it for the night. Okay, yeah, understood. And in peace. Yeah, you're welcome. Yeah, she had to get some things done. She was in and out of chat, like she was lurking, but getting some things done. But yeah, she's doing all right. Okay. Good night.